This week, we are doing a blind tasting. That doesn't mean we're blindfolded. It means we're smoking a cigar and we don't know what it is, and we'll find out what it is at the end of the show. While we're doing that blind tasting, we're going to talk about cigars and wine, or top 5 cigars to bring to a winery, but probably just talk about cigars and wine. Volado Tobacco, Cohiba Talisman, I put in there, and I don't remember why I put it in there. It's a very expensive cigar, but it has Volado Tobacco. That's why I put it in there. 10 best Davidoff cigars ever. I smoked La Flor Dominicana, Factory Press 4, Tatuaje 10th Anniversary, Belancre Reserva, EP Carrillo Edition Limitada 2012. Not all at the same time. So we'll talk about those. Top 5 cigars to enjoy during fall. Alec Bradley Fine and Rare is another one that I've smoked recently. A film about cigars is ready to be made public for free on YouTube. God of Fire Series B not Grand Toro. I smoked the Robusto. Amazing. And then basically Hurricanes and Fire. All that and more on to this edition of the Stogie Geek Show.
This is Security Weekly. For security professionals, by security professionals. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geek Show. Welcome, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. Joe and I are already silly.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Hozempa, a.k.a. Joe Hollywood, is here with me in studio.
I'm fired up. So we also have Remote Drew, who is remote over in Texas. Look at you. You got some Stogie Geek swag going on in the background.
Got my banner.
Where are you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm all set up for the Stogie Geek mobile lounge.
Confidence. Confidence isn't walking into a room with your nose in the air, thinking you're better than anyone else. It's walking into a room and not having to compare yourself to anyone in the first place.
Plasencia Cigars, perfected for more than 150 years. Yours to enjoy now.
Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island, is a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo.
Welcome, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. I'm, of course, your host, Paul Acidorium. To my left, none other than Joe Hozempa. What's up, man?
How's everything going?
Hey, you know it's going good.
Good.
Good to have you here for the blind tasting.
Taking notes.
The day of reckoning.
Mr. Bill Brenner's in the house. Bill, welcome.
Good afternoon. Happy to be back after
it's good
a couple months.
Yeah,
Bill, you didn't
while.
get one of the blind tastings. What happened?
Well, he wasn't here for the whole setup last time, and I didn't know he was going
we
to be a
just-
special guest today. But I gave him a good stick.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got a cigar, so
Yeah,
I'm satisfied.
that's good. Doesn't take much, does it?
No,
easy to please.
I'm easily pleased.
Jason Albuquerque's in the house.
What's happening?
Providing the blind.
It's been 30 days.
The blind cigars, the blind tasting.
Yeah, the blind tasting cigars. Listen, you guys.
Listen, this is the blind leading the blind in
It
this
is.
show.
It is.
It really is.
But
Except you're
you
not the one
guys-
that's blind. You know what this cigar is.
I'm the only one who knows what the cigar is. But you guys touted your palates last show. Said that you guys could bring it to the table. And
Oh,
you
no.
said we're gonna-
Hold on. I never made any claims that I would guess correctly because I've done this a bunch of times, and I think I'm like 0 for 47.
No,
okay?
no,
Guessing.
not that
no.
bad.
Yeah, no, I am. No, literally, I don't think I've ever guessed. It's very hard to guess what a cigar. I mean, unless it's like super.
At the end of the day, you're going to appreciate a really good cigar because it's a great cigar.
The cigar feels heavy. It's got some weight to it.
It's actually not bad. I was surprised the size of the cigar. I thought it was going to be heavier. I really did.
It's a big cigar.
It's a big cigar.
What'd you say the size was?
7.25 by 54.
And it did have a pigtail cap.
Pigtail cap.
I mean, if you're hackers like we are, I mean, you could take just that information based on the wrapper color, the size, and the cap. But I tell you what, you may still not even get it, even with that much information.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The rules were no Google Lens,
No, we're not
Google
gonna-
Foo,
yeah.
none of that stuff.
That defeats the whole purpose.
It does. It does. But no, I hope you enjoy it. And
Feels heavy. It had a good a pre-lit aroma. Had some barnyard on the wrapper, I thought. Had almost a little bit of sweetness.
Yep.
And earthiness from the foot. The wrapper's got like a dry, like when you do a pre-draw, you take a draw, like get like a dry, not from the smoke, but from the actual cigar itself. Like a dryness.
Yeah, I wrote like metallic dirt. Like it's like a metallic. It's coming up very metallic.
Like a high iron content.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm getting a little dryness.
Yeah.
Yeah, even off the draw too.
yeah, dry, totally. Good, it's a good addition right there.
Definitely well constructed though.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful cigar.
Aroma's
Like,
awesome.
yeah.
I mean, the wrapper, the veins in the wrapper, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful cigar.
I mean, it's not a. I'm gonna guess it's not a Maduro.
No,
Not
I
a
already.
Maduro. Not a Maduro.
No, I have a couple of
A dark
guesses.
wrapper though. Yeah.
A couple of guesses.
A darkish brown wrapper. I mean, I have to turn because of the lighting in here, but
It's a darker wrapper.
it's a
Very,
dark brown wrapper.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's almost not. I don't know how to describe the color because dark brown kind of almost means
I
like
put dark
Maduro.
brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dark brown.
but
Okay.
dark brown, but not Maduro. It's not Maduro.
No.
No,
Because it doesn't
yeah, I
have a
agree.
sweetness to it. Has a dryness to it. So it's not like a Maduro.
It's a sizable cigar.
Yeah.
I guess it was bigger than it really was. Well,
did.
I mean,
Not
we
by
are,
much,
we are
though. You
men.
said 7.5.
We are men.
Are you
we
getting,
tend to do that.
Are you getting like the oily on your hand?
Yeah, I am.
Like
My
you get it.
fingertips.
You get the oil and then a little bit of tingle on the side. I should speak into the microphone. On the side of the lips. Like you get a tingle on the lips and the
Yep.
pre-drawn
I
oil.
got that. I
Yeah,
got that
right.
little pepper tingle.
What does that mean to you, Joe? Does that mean you're kind of guessing what some of the tobacco might be based
no,
on that characteristic? or-
what I'm doing is I'm taking the characteristics. Like, okay, if it's super oily, oily, and it's not Maduro, like spray on Maduro. You know how we went through that tutorial with Jose Blanco.
Yeah.
So it tells me that it's got to be some sort of like a broadleaf, something.
But now lick your lips after you smoked it for a
Yeah,
little bit.
you
You get
can
like a
s-
sweetness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Totally.
yeah. But it's not. It's totally not Maduro, if that makes sense. But that's not my final answer yet. So
I can tell you what it not. A lot of things.
I'll
it's
tell you
not.
what it
yeah,
is.
we can say yeah.
It's definitely not a backwoods. All right.
Nope. Not a Philly blunt.
And it's definitely not a barber pole wrapper. Like any cigar that is a barber pole is not this. And Candela.
Truth.
It's definitely not a Candela.
Yeah, it's not a Candela. Yeah.
Those will be my contributions throughout this thing.
I love it.
But pre-light, I got the barnyard you spoke about, the lip tingle I spoke about. I put black pepper because I think it's quick to define the pepper, especially if there's a chance of it being like a Nicaraguan, maybe Honduran. It's way too early to, in my opinion, like
I'm thinking way more Dominican. Dominican is
where you're going.
If I had to guess so far,
Yeah,
I would say predominantly Dominican. Although what gives that
it's too
dry? What gives the dryness? I feel like I used to know more tobaccos that give you that kind of dry on the palate kind of feeling.
The dryness would be, see, to me, dry and metallic-y says it's got to be like Nicaraguan, Honduran. But
Interesting.
I won't know until
Yeah.
like there to see how it transitions, if it transitions. If
Could
it
be all
stays
three.
like this,
you know,
we're
my guess
screwed.
right now is Nicaraguan, Honduran, Dominican.
It could, yeah, it could be. It could be. That's a good. That's all. I totally fell for it. Totally fell for it.
You know, it could be Costa Rican as well. Who knows?
So you're saying that it's a handmade Nicaraguan,
It's handmade.
Dominican?
It's
Yeah,
definitely
there you
a
go. I
handmade.
You
gotcha.
got a Peruvian now? You got that as a
Peruvian.
I totally fell for it too. Like I should have known. See, I only see you like once or twice a month now. So like, I fall for it. I'm not on my game.
But would you have this cigar in a winery? On a bus, on a train, in the rain?
Pretty much anywhere.
I think I mean, so I'm segueing into the first story about top 5 cigars to bring to a winery.
Yeah.
I think they post these. I didn't really want to talk about the article. You'll notice when you do podcasts with me, I do this. I do this quite often. Like I add the article.
It's to seed conversation.
It's to seed conversation, and I really don't want to talk about the top 5 cigars to bring to a winery because I think just reading that headline in the topic itself, like that's really just to drive SEO. That's the only reason you write these articles. I don't fault JR, Blending Room, their media arm for it because you got to do it, man. Like you got to do it to attract people to your site. I do think that because you could write anything in this article and talk about any cigars, and it's really just a headline, right, that draws people in. Bill, this is like part of your world and like what you do in your day job, right? I mean, this was for SEO purposes, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Got my expert opinion, my
When
SME.
when it's top 5 anything.
Yep.
7 deadly sins of something. Yeah.
Drive clicks.
It's just a draw. And so, but what I did want to talk about is like why you couldn't write an article like this. Because it depends on what winery you're going to and what kind of wine you're drinking is going to determine what kind of cigar you're going to smoke. Now, I can say the ones that they had on their list, primarily, there's at least 3. So an Ashton Cabinet, a Oliva Connecticut Reserve, and an Arturo Fuente Hemingway. I think are 3 great cigars that I would pair with like maybe a light Chardonnay. Not a big fan of Pinot Grigio. A lot of other white wines. Rosé, maybe. More Chardonnay is where I would go with that pairing. I think a light cigar with a light Chardonnay, right? Like nothing too heavy, but Chardonnays sometimes have that nice little oakiness to it. I think they're going to pair well with those 3 cigars I just rattled off. Are pretty light on the palate. I mean, the Hemingway's got a little more body to it. Yeah. But an Oliva Connecticut Reserve and an Ashton Cabinet. I mean, beyond a very, very light, and I'm not a big wine person. I don't know if you guys pay more attention to wine. Joe might be the wine expert among us today. What are some other light wines like that you like to smoke? Like in that Chardonnay category? I know I'm missing some other white wines. Maybe a Pinot Grigio. But
I was going to say
really sweet.
I was going to say anything local is light. Local to like the New England region is lighter when it comes to wines. Because obviously I frequent a lot of vineyards locally. When I say local, Northeast, stuff like that. Anything lighter. But yeah, a Pinot there. What I don't like about the article is like Ashton Cabinet I know it's a double negative, but it doesn't blend with it blends with almost anything. You know what I mean?
Anything light. Like, I agree. Like a nice light lager, you'd have one of those with, I think, would be a great pairing.
Right.
Sure.
Right. Definitely. There.
You just anything you pair that cigar with has to be pretty light on the palate. Otherwise, it's just not going to hold up.
Yep. So do you, when you go, like, do you pair your cigars with the vineyard you're going to? I don't. I just...
I would
cigar I have on me is the cigar I have on me.
I don't think it's about going to a vineyard. Again, I think that was for the eye catching.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry.
Oh, I should bring cigars with me to a bit like. But you're going to smoke a cigar with wine. Be smart about it, right? Like there's no, and there's very few hard and fast rules about pairing. I mean, who knows? You could pair your Ashton Cabinet with a heavy Merlot and have a wonderful experience.
I was going to say, it's about some people's palate as well, what they enjoy, right? I mean, some of this is going to be what you enjoy.
I mean, I personally wouldn't try that, but I bet you, like, if I tried it, I'd maybe be like, oh, actually, that's pretty good.
Yep.
So is the non-alcoholic guy in the room. I know that's blasphemy.
That's all right.
No, you still got to pair, man. You got to pair.
I know a lot of people with coffee, with sodas.
Soda,
as the
absolutely.
non-alcoholic in the room, I can tell you that this Cloud Hopper pairs well with Coke Zero.
Oh yeah, dude. Actually,
Nice.
like
The warped Cloud Hopper.
Any
That's what I
kind
give
of
them.
any kind of a cola type soda
Yep.
tends to go really well with cigars. In fact, like a rum and coke is actually a great pairing with a cigar.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is. And the cream soda and Dr. Pepper are two other ones
Absolutely.
that go really well with cigars.
Absolutely, yeah. Like if you're not drinking for whatever, you gotta maybe you've had some, you gotta drive, or you're just not a drinker, or
right.
whatever the case may be. Soda's a great pairing.
I found that less effective paired with cigars are seltzers.
Yeah.
Seltzers tend to be like a palate cleanser.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the clear sodas,
So
like
it's
Sprites.
the two clash.
I don't dig
Yeah, and I would say orange juice is one of the ones that you never pair with a cigar. Like it just, no matter what you do, orange juice does not blend with cigars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Yeah, it's kind of nasty.
Right.
And but wine certainly does.
Right,
Getting
right.
your other kinds of red wines, certainly. Oh, I had Camus. You ever have Camus Vineyards Cabernet? In fact, someone gave this to me as a gift once. Someone, you guys all know, gave this to me as a gift. Is it Camus? Oh, it's got to be. Maybe I'm spelling it wrong. No, Camus Cabernet. There it is. Camus Cabernet. Yeah, it's around $85 to $100, $85 to $90 a bottle. It's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a lot for a Cabernet, or it's kind of a lot for a bottle of wine in most people's budgets. I don't drink wine very often, so when I do drink it, I want to drink something nice, and this is typically like one of my really nice. Yeah, Wine Enthusiast magazine gives us a 97 out of 100. This is a 2009, but obviously, there's going to be different years of this bottle. The 2009, he has $130. Yeah, I can see that. But it is just so good. And, I wouldn't pair this with any kind of light cigar. I'd pair this with some, definitely, like a Padron. Really, many of the Padrones would go really well with this one, for sure.
Yeah, I know the My Father #1 that they have in the article.
Yeah.
I like that with like a Caribbean cask type whiskey, like like a Scotch, like Balvenie. Angel's Envy has like a port cask, so a little bit of that sweeter cask. The whiskeys,
Sure.
The My Fathers go really well with that. My Father #1.
What about you, Joe? You got a Cabernet that you like to pair with? Joe's deep in thought with this. He wants to nail this blind tasting like I've never seen before.
This show is already a success for me.
Leave me alone. I am trying to figure out what the cigar is.
I said in the pre-show banter, I love it when Joe Hollywood gets all serious.
He's zoned in.
I love
man.
it. I absolutely love this.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different. The question was Cabernet. I really like Louis Martini. I know it's kind of mainstream.
No,
but
those are really good though.
Yeah. I really.
Now you can really find anywhere, and there's different years that are there's different prices, right?
Yeah. In Bristol, we have you can buy like the $10 Louis Martini, the 20, the 30, the 40, the 50.
Yeah.
And they have the private room, and it's 1776 liquors over in Bristol.
Yeah,
And then we go there, and then there's
Louis,
like an
is it Louis pronounced Louis Martini?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Louis Martini,
Yeah.
Cabernet Sonoma County.
Yeah. I'm kind of into that. And then honestly, anything from either Russian River Valley or Washington State. So
Interesting.
So I go so when I go to look for like new stuff, I go to look for the region. Same thing with cigars, right? So I like stuff from Russian River Valley, and then Washington State makes some serious wines.
Yeah.
Like
So like what year? Like I remember Matt telling me like if you're gonna go Cabernet from California, go
like
this year.
2013.
You
Okay.
go like be in this year range. Like don't drink anything younger than this. Make sure it's older than a certain amount. Because like he at that point in time, like wines from Sonoma, Cabernet. He's like, make sure it's at least this year or older or whatever. I think it was 20 at the time. It was 2018, right? But like, who knows? Like as time goes on, that shifts, right?
Yep.
And then the older ones get more expensive. But there was like a time cutoff. He's like, you're probably going to really enjoy it just with this general guideline. And that's what I like about wine. You can have these kind of general guidelines. With cigars, the guidelines are completely different, right?
Yeah, I usually try to go like if you can go a year, 3 years out. You know what I mean? So where are we? 2022. So I'd be looking for, you know, 2019 or 2018.
Like this
if so.
picture I took on, it looks like I took it on October 17th, 2019, and it's a 2017 Louis Martini Cabernet.
Yeah.
And if I took a picture of it, it means it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way with the cigars. Like I was like, oh, I gotta take a picture of this and stuff like that. But yeah, it's I'm into, like I said, Washington State. Next time you peruse liquor store, try to get something from like Washington State. I don't know. To me, they're just big on taste. Robust on taste.
Yeah, so you need a robust cigar. So like with the Cabernets we were just mentioning, yeah, I find you can take a robust cigar and pair it really well. If I was going somewhere and I was having some night a vineyard or whatever, nice robust red wine, I would definitely take my more robust, my Padron, Tatuaje, more robust cigars.
Yeah. So you had mentioned where would you smoke a cigar, right? And you said plane, train, automobile. I'm going to be traveling on a plane here soon. And one of the articles I put in here is about traveling with cigars on a plane.
Yes,
I didn't realize that torch lighters. So I'm going to Tennessee, right? I'm going to Nashville, and I'm going to be leaving tomorrow morning. And I went on and I wanted to check all the nice TSA rules and regulations to bring in my cigars with me. And carry-on's super cool. Like you can bring your cigars carry on.
Bring your cigars carry on.
But you can't have a torch lighter even in the checked bag. Nowhere.
No torch lighters
nothing
are
at
allowed.
All. I did not realize that.
I'm
so glad I looked it up.
You're flying, right? You're leaving. Yeah. So I always for easy finding, pair of jeans on top, front pocket of the jeans.
Yeah.
This way, when you get off the plane, you're going to unzip your bag, your jeans are right there, front pocket. Same thing with cigars. Like if I put like a cigar's like crush proof thing or whatever, I go pair of jeans, boom, right there. This way I know where to find them. When I fly.
Yeah, but no torch lighters.
No torch lighters at all, though. That's what TSA says.
Don't bring something that looks like a torch lighter.
Yeah.
But it's not really a torch lighter.
Because
when you bring it to TSA,
are any lighters kosher through the
even in checked baggage?
Soft flame lighters.
I got mine taken away.
Did you?
Zycar.
In checked baggage.
No, not checked. In carry-on.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm talking about
cutters. You're probably 1 to 3% of the time you're going to get napped with a cutter. So I just in an overabundance of caution, I travel with cheap cutters.
Yeah.
Whether I'm checking it or whatever, I travel with cheap cutters.
Yeah.
And then with lighters, I never travel with butane because I've had my share taken away.
Yep.
And I don't even travel with ones that like it looks like a torch lighter, but when you light it, it's a soft flame.
Yeah.
Because then you have explaining to do.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And then they might take it anyway. Who knows?
Yep.
But then you'll have to prove that it's a soft flame light. Don't bother.
Yeah. I'm gonna buy a torch lighter when I get there.
That's what I do.
That's it.
That's it.
Plain and simple. That's what I'm gonna do. So.
And then you can do whatever.
Yeah.
You can risk it coming. So if I buy when I'm there, I either risk it coming back, right? Or if I mail it,
it's not going to take it back with me.
Why would I mail it? Or I give it to someone else later if they want to mail it back to me or whatever.
Just buy a cheap one and call it a day. But I'm taking my sticks in my travel humidor on my carry-on. Keep them nice and safe with me.
And when you take a case with you,
hold
on. I don't know if this one has it. All right, it doesn't matter, but this one doesn't have it, right? It's like this Zycar travel case that you see here, right? It's sealed pretty tight. And what's going to happen is when you go up in the pressurized cabin, it's going to seal even tighter from the pressure.
Yep.
And it may be that when you flip these, you can't open it.
Yeah, I have my travel has a
valve.
Pressure
you need
release.
a valve. Yep.
Yeah.
So make sure you got one with a valve. That's really travel on the plane with cigars. That's it. Those are those.
So I'm taking the sticks,
also,
carry on.
Wooden matches. Wooden matches work.
Yep.
The problem is, if you're in a windy environment, wooden matches really suck. But if you're in a controlled environment, wooden matches are fine.
I'll probably take wooden matches, throw it in my checked baggage.
The tough part
then buy a torch when I get there.
The tough part with wooden matches is if your cigar doesn't burn right, you need to do a touch up or relight it. It's a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's why I like to have a lighter with me.
Yeah, I'll be grabbing a lighter on my way out of the airport. No doubt about it.
Where are you headed?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Sweet.
We have 14 or 16 parents of kids who either play sports or go to school together, and we Airbnb'd a house right in Nashville, walking distance of Broadway, and we're going to go exercise our livers for 6 days.
Sounds amazing.
And by the way, Sunday we're going to go see Elton John in his last concert tour.
Sweet.
Good
Yeah.
book. His book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it. Cover to cover. Pretty wild.
He performed at the White House last week.
Yeah.
What cigar did you pair with the book? No, I'm just kidding. I want to talk about Volado tobacco.
Yeah.
We talked about another tobacco leaf before. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's basically the bottom priming is Volado. This is about 10% of the leaves on a tobacco stalk are Volado. And what I find interesting about this really nerdy stuff is that there are probably some people that know it way better than we do that are like, oh, well, that depends on the plant and where you grow it as to what the yield of Volado is per plant. Like, I guarantee you that it's something like that. Because I ask these questions in my day job where we talk about really nerdy hardware and firmware things. And I ask questions. I'm like, isn't it this true? And then the people that really know it are like, it depends. Right? And I feel like with tobacco, we're in similar territory here when we talk about particular leaves. So, like, when it says generally, that means, I think, from what very little I know about tobacco, that depending on where you're growing the plant, what type of plant that it is, and what your growing season looks like from year to year, that yield of 10% Volado is going to vary. By how much, I'm not sure. Someone that does this for a living could probably tell you, like, oh, on the plants like we grow, like, there's a variation from this much, year to year. But it is the bottom priming. And some people actually, and it's funny, like, you do this in your garden, right? Like, you trim some of the bottom or other smaller, like in a tomato plant, or what was it, tomato plants? Most plants, you pluck off some of the seedlings so that more nutrients goes to the other parts of the vegetable or fruit, right? So they do this with Volado. Sometimes they'll trim them. I don't know what they do with them. Maybe they trim them and then they ferment them and age them and use them in different ones. I can't imagine they throw it away. I don't know how much weight. That's another good question for someone that does this for a living.
Right.
Like what how much weight? Like, is there even waste? Like,
right.
Or is it recycled into fertilizer? I'm sure someone could give a really cool answer about.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the process is pretty damn green. Like, nothing's going in the trash.
Sure,
right, basically.
sure.
Yeah.
And from what we talked about, the Volado is more for combustion than it is for flavor, right?
There are some cigars I smoked recently could have used a lot more Volado, in my opinion. It didn't quite. But they talk about this. So then they talk about this Cohiba Talisman Edition Limitada 2017. I'm like, I gotta try one of these. This sounds like something I need to try. It's a 6x54. It's about $85. $85. Now, $85 for a Cuban cigar has me nervous right out of the gate because I'm like, what if it's plugged? Because we all know I'm going to buy an $85 Cohiba Talisman Edition Limitada 2017. A single cigar in a quick Google search, that's just one website, says it's $356. I'm sure it was $85 when it first came out. Right. Now it's $356. I have not had one of these. I've had some Edition Limitada Cohibas before.
Yeah.
Not this particular one. They are supposed to be pretty amazing, but yeah. But I'd be afraid, like, I'd buy one and it would be plugged. Even with Volado tobacco in it.
But they called it on the article because it's considered one of the better burning Cuban cigars because of the amount of Volado in it.
Oh, so maybe we roll the dice on these. I think we all need a box.
Box of 10 is what, 2,800?
Yeah.
Yowza.
Yowza. Right.
For the man who has everything.
For the man who has everything. Cohiba Talisman Edition Limitadas.
Yeah.
All around.
I mean, speaking of Cuban cigars, I put an article in here about how Cuba's ramping up production now. They're starting to ramp up production, I guess, with a lot what's going on in the world, with sanctions. They're losing money, but they're going to start ramping up production. And you had mentioned at one point in time, Paul, I think that on average, 20% of the cigars from Cuba that you get are like plugged or something's wrong with them, or
again, I mean, that's
somewhere
just
around there. For me, I brought this to the table to say, if they start ramping production up, will that percentage go up of plugged cigars and issues that you guys have?
Well, if they don't improve the efficiency in the process,
right,
and they keep the same process but amp up production, that could mean more plugged cigars.
Right.
and higher prices. Cuban cigars are all cigars are at an all-time. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
prices aren't going to go down, but Cuban cigars especially are extremely expensive right now. I mean, like, I'm looking at stuff that we bought years ago, and I'm like, good Lord. It's almost double. It's almost double what I used to pay. Now, a lot of people over the years have said, well, Cuban cigars are really expensive. And it does depend on where you get them.
Mm-hmm.
And I had sources that I would know the prices that I was paying for my cigars 10 years ago. And even then, like 10 years ago prices, knowing that some percentage, 20% or whatever, right? Whatever it is, some percentage in that box are going to be plugged. So just do the math. I'm like, okay, if it was $7 a cigar when I bought a box, like I know, like let's say it's 10 because I know some are going to be plugged. I'd still pay $10. I think $10 per cigar is a great value for what I get from this box, right? And I have some of my favorites, and Cuban cigars vary more so from year to year than other cigar manufacturers. Again, I think it's a quality thing.
Yeah.
I think that, the old staples used to be Monte Cristo number 2s, Partagas Series D number 4s. I used to really like, wicked expensive now, Cohiba Magicos. Oh, those good. So there were certain ones that I really liked, but it was a crapshoot, man. It was like some box, wasn't the same year to year. And that's a quality and process and production thing, wholeheartedly. So
I mean, I brought that to the table. I mean, there's a factory that they interviewed, some folks at the factory, and I mean, they're pushing out 9,000 cigars a day now. They're projected to do 2 million cigars. This is one factory.
Yeah.
2 million by the end of this year. If they're going to ramp that up, for me, it's about QA, right? Are they going to be able to control that quality assurance and make sure that at least current quality, which isn't great, I would argue 20% bad cigars is not a good number, but at the end of the day, is it going to go up?
Right.
Is it going to become 30% now? You can expect.
But I think the other thing with Cuban cigars too, and I think Dave Garofalo came back from a trip and was kind of a little controversial in saying like they all taste the same. Was like basically, I don't know that that's not exactly what he said, but that was basically the gist of it. And we all kind of disagreed with him. I still think to this day I do disagree, but I also see his point. I think more so now, having smoked more Cuban cigars, there's not a whole lot of it, because all the tobacco is coming from Cuba, right? They're not sourcing tobacco. We'll talk about in some of our Hurricane and Fire examples, right? Tobacco being sourced from various regions, like all the way from Connecticut, but being stored in a warehouse somewhere in the Dominican Republic, right? So you can get a lot more depth, complexity in different cigars because you're sourcing tobacco from, I joked about, Honduras, Dominican, and Nicaragua, right? And then all the various regions in those countries do produce. And in Cuba, you've only got the different regions, right?
Yep.
So I think there are differences, but they're not as contrasting, right?
Yeah.
But also I think the differences you're tasting are the ratios of filler inside of it and the different sizes, right, is causing those variances in flavor and taste, which Cuban cigar still tastes like a Cuban cigar. But there are some that the process is different too. Like Cohiba kind of stands out. And that just has to be some of the better tobacco, in my opinion, what I've heard over the years. Right, Joe, you've heard this too. Like Cohiba is more of like the cream of the crop, literally, of the tobacco.
In the Cuban world?
In the Cuban world, yeah. Because that was like the Fidel Castro cigar was the Cohiba, right? That's the whole story behind it.
Yeah. And I mean, keeping on the Cuban cigar banter, Hurricane Ian hit a couple of factories.
We're going there.
Hit a couple of farms. Why not? We're talking about it, right? So
let's do it.
We talked about pricing. So now, I mean, some of the tobacco farms that were hit, one of them is the Finca Rubena, which, from what I understand, is one of the best tobacco farms out there in Cuba, and that got hit. What's that gonna do to pricing now?
I'll admit I have my weather radar going here.
Is
it in Tampa right now, or right outside
it
Tampa?
should be hitting
just north of Tampa.
Fort Myers.
Yeah.
The impact, the actual impact, won't be till 2 years from now.
Yeah, correct.
Like right now, we're dealing with the high price of sticks.
Yep.
And we're smoking through the I might use the word mediocrity. There's nothing wicked fascinating, as we say here in the Northeast, in my opinion, right? Coming up with new cigars, because we're smoking the brunt of the COVID production lockdown,
Yep.
AKA restricted staff sticks, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
and also
would be 2 years from now. In my
But
opinion.
also, don't forget too. I mean, there is a distinct path, right? That like there's a swath that any given hurricane is going to take out. Because I did read some reports like farms in the Dominican, like we just got a lot of rain. Now that could impact the growing season in some capacity. It may not impact it as negatively, of course, as if the direct eye of the hurricane's going over the farm and it's ripping the plants out of the ground. That's a thing, but that's going to be relatively constrained by the size of the hurricane. Now this was a big storm, so maybe more farms were impacted as well.
Yeah, I mean, there was a picture in the article of a barn totally collapsed. Like there was
Well, yeah, the barn is
collapsed.
the right.
Yeah, 'cause the
equipment got. I mean, what they
barn
came
is
back
where
in the
it's
report.
fermenting.
Well,
or
the reason why the
aeration,
bond collapses, you have air vents anyway that come out in and out to regulate the temperature. So once air can go in there and then push through, just a matter of it trying to find a way through, and then it'll almost
Lift the
break
roof
it
off.
apart.
Yeah,
and
right.
lift it off.
like if you're fermenting, man,
Yeah.
it's got to be well ventilated.
Right.
That's how it ferments. Is literally that's the fermentation process. It involves air. If you trap all that, could be it's like beer. Like people do their beer brewing at home, and bottles are exploding. That's the fermentation process. Process. Yeah.
I've had that where I'm like passing out beer, and I messed up on the dextrose component because I was doing a pumpkin brew, and I'm like, you can have these. The good news is it's still drinkable. Bad news is you have to open it over your sink because you're gonna lose half the bottle. Like I was like, it's just a bomb. It just goes and then and then you shake it, you wipe it down, and then you can pour it in a glass. But like half a bottle, I was like, I screwed up on a dextrose component. I don't know what to tell you. Like it's the way it went on all of them.
Fire is worse. We were talking about fire is bad.
Fire is worse.
Fire is bad.
So the William Ventura factory, which is Aventura Cigars, Caldwell, had cigars out of there. Room 101, J. London, and then Intercigar, which was right next door.
Yeah.
Massive fire wiped everything out.
Plus,
so,
Adventura is hot right now.
I know.
So like hot when I mean like demand. So that's gonna affect a couple of years from now as well.
So I mean, Robert Caldwell came out because again, some of his cigars are coming out of there. Caldwell alone lost 800,000 cigars. 800,000 is what was reported, which is insane. So, thoughts and prayers out to those families because they need work, they need their revenue, and hopefully they can come back because again, Aventura, really hot brand, really good cigar.
Yeah.
And then obviously the other brands as well that we smoke. So.
I got thinking about fires related to the tobacco industry, and it's really interesting. And I put a few articles in there about this, and I immediately thought of Fuente, and I couldn't recall every single detail, but I knew there was a lot intertwined in the Fuente family and business history that related to both hurricanes and fire. So I pulled some resources. Now, forgive me, I'm going to try and piece this together, but. From the website, I think this is like super interesting. So the company was doing well it was founded in 1912. 1912, 2 years after they came to America, they founded. Okay, so 1912, 1922, the company was doing well, employing 500 people. 1924, the factory burned down, and Arturo went through a divorce, like in the same year. And then spent the next 22 years working as a general manager for a local business to repay debts owed from the losses caused by the fire, while keeping his cigar manufacturing dream alive from his home. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That
is absolutely
that's a crazy story.
But they had multiple fires too, right? Didn't it happen again?
The 1979 accidental fire in Honduras caused the Fuentes to lose a factory once again. Surviving producing cigars from his Ybor City location. So that happened again in 1979. 2011 was a big fire. Fire burned down 2 large tobacco warehouses. the manufacturer of Fuente. The fire of Villa Gonzalez near the company's main office in Dominican completely destroyed large inventories of aged tobacco, possibly caused smoke damage to nearby. And I don't know if that was the fire that... All right, so now you have to go to other resources to figure out if that... So that 2011 was also Hurricane Irene, I believe. And the winds from that hurricane fueled that fire.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Made it
interesting
spread.
when we talk about hurricanes and its impact on the cigar industry. They did that. But then there was a fire. So, hurricane. No, it was a hurricane. Okay. So now we're in 1998. Hurricane Georges tore through the Dominican Republic in 1998, wrecking many curing barns in Chateau de la Fuente, and he feared he wouldn't be able to make Fuente Opus X cigars, which were just about to come out in that time. That's when they were released. So he went to his other stocks of tobacco, found some, because when you're Fuente, you just have other barns full of Connecticut broadleaf, and then put Connecticut broadleaf on the Fuente Opus X, dubbing it Arturo Fuente Añejo. That's now I'm starting to I remember pieces of this over time. Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, through disaster, the companies can come back out of it and come back out strong. So, like I said, hopefully the Ventura family and the Intercigar families over there, they can come out of this strong.
Takes time to recover, man.
It does.
Really does.
I will say the community. I've seen a lot on the community right now, reaching out, supporting them. So hopefully we as a cigar community can help support them.
Yeah. So even just taking one cigar manufacturer like Fuente, now granted they have a rich history and very large manufacturer, you can see some of the impacts of both hurricanes and fire on, and that's just one example.
Right.
There's a million other examples we could probably pull from.
And then it's going to hit Tampa. I mean, Tampa's where J.C. Newman is, and I mean, there's a lot going on for the cigar industry in the Tampa area. So hopefully everything is good there too.
Yeah, and you hope that warehouses in Tampa that may hold cigars are going to be fine. I mean, they might lose power or whatever, but they're probably going to be fine. Right. I think the bigger issue is if it's a fermentation or a barn that's on the farm, those are in a big open field and structurally very open and prone to disasters.
The warehouses, I would imagine, those Chicago warehouses. I don't know what the name that they
if they're
put on
building them in
ships.
Florida, they know they're going to get a hurricane.
Then they're probably just stuffing them into those because those are relatively hurricane safe, right? Unless they float into the water. So they must have some sort of a backup mechanism for that stuff.
Right.
But like Paul said, the stuff that's in progress will be affected.
We like to smoke cigars, so we don't like to see them damaged. And it causes shortages. I mean, I think the 2011 fire, I think years subsequent from that, there was some limited, it was Fuente cigars were even more limited.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting how probably 8-9 years later, I was like, wow, I can actually buy some of these cigars. I've been looking for this thing forever. And so I think that really, and again, this is just conjecture on my part. I really do think it took time for them to open up in just my own kind of experience.
Just the amount, going back to the fire story, right? Between the Ventura factory and Intercigar, just two. So Caldwell alone, 800,000 cigars. Intercigar, the factory, which does a couple of different brands, 700,000 finished cigars, gone, right?
And the finished cigar, I mean, that hurts really bad because
it's revenue.
It took you how many years to get to that finished
I mean, the
cigar?
800,000 Caldwell says that they were awaiting packaging or aging. So I mean, they were getting there, right? So
you've lost years of process.
And that doesn't count, what Room 101, J. London, the Freud cigars, which are fairly new, Aventura cigars, those numbers aren't in these.
And
right?
I
So
believe
that's
it's
even more.
It was the articles from 2011 that talked about how by that time Fuente had spread out a lot of their warehouses to avoid this.
Business continuity planning, baby.
Exactly what it is, man. That's
planning.
exactly what it is, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. They are large enough, and were large enough even in 2011 to afford some of those luxuries. So if they did have a disaster, the
shift.
impact was minimized, right?
Yep.
They're in a
We talk about in risk.
all the time.
We're in a
Impact
warehouse in
minimization.
Bangor, Maine.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. When you're big enough and you can afford it, you start doing those risk mitigation strategies and business continuity. Right.
But smaller ones like Caldwell and whatnot, 800,000 in one location that could put a cramp in your style.
Right. Totally.
For sure.
So, again, we don't want to see these type of things in the industry, so community supporting all of them, and hopefully they come out of this strong.
What do you want to talk about next?
Wrapper of the mystery stick.
Hey, yeah, I was actually gonna ask.
Let's
how's the
check in on the
stick doing?
mystery side. I've been talking. I haven't
Check
been
in,
paying
check
attention.
in. How we doing?
The wrapper has to be a broadleaf. And
Really? You think broadleaf just...
I'm thinking broadleaf.
I don't know.
I don't know, because
It's still very
Are you
dry.
getting a cedar? Like a
very
little
dry.
bit.
I totally am.
Super dry. It's super dry. Like super earthy dry.
Yep.
Right. Almost smoking. Like what super dry immediately comes to mind. Like immediately comes to mind is like a umbagog is super dry, earthy. There. Bless you.
Thank you.
Charter oak.
That was from the retro health.
Charter oak. Yeah. Oh, the retro. My notes
It's,
on the retro. Retro. Where am I? Retro. I was getting black pepper on the pre-light, but retro. I'm getting white pepper, super smooth, on the retro. Like usually white pepper and super smooth is like kind of doesn't happen unless it's a mix of the binder and filler. But I'm not there yet. So it's super smooth, but it's still dry.
Yeah.
Very
like
dry.
It's totally like need ice water dry. Like it's like I need either more ice water or bourbon, which is fine. I have both.
Totally.
Right? Oh,
Totally.
I have bourbon. Oh, we have bourbon. But like it's so dry.
So it's like when they give you
So like
peanuts at the bar.
Have you had the Charter Oak?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had Charter Oak,
I have,
right? Super
totally.
dry.
Yeah.
Super dry. Right? Who's Charter Oak? That's Foundation, right? Yeah. And then the Umbagog is Saka. So named after the lake, the dog, the way he fishes with his dog.
Yep.
Right? So
Correct.
the super dry, right? There. What's the other? There was another one he made.
I mean, this almost has an umbagog. When you say umbagog, you've planted that in my head.
It has a feel like what's the one that people called Umbagog seconds, but it wasn't? God, we interviewed Steve Saka.
What is it? The Sobremesa? They have a Sobremesa.
No, it's definitely not Sobremesa.
I know that, but I'm just saying, right? But
it's definitely not Sobremesa. Like I don't know. Like
This kind of looks like an umbagog. Umbagog is the same color. But that doesn't mean it is,
Did
but-
they make giant Umbagogs? Like I don't
They
know.
do-
They do make giant Umbagogs.
the Micarita.
That's the
Micarita-
kisses.
Micarita.
Micarita
is the premium offering from Steve, because one of my favorite cigars of all time is a Micarita Uncle Largo. It's a Toro size. The wrapper's much darker than this one, but it's one of my favorite cigars.
But it was dry
to
like
smoke.
this.
No, that one is not. I wouldn't classify that
No?
one as dry.
Okay, but it's dry. The dry and
They have a bunch of Micaritas. Tricky Traca, I think, was one, and they have another one. I think.
Okay. Yeah. So all right. So so it's got a dry,
I
super
can't-
dry.
I can't
the
pinpoint-
metallic goes away for me.
Oh yeah, totally.
The
Yeah.
metallic
Yep.
goes
It's
away.
got really good flavor on the retro hail. I do get a
Yep.
little bit of pepper, but I can't place.
See, mine is more like almost like
flavor.
a red peppery taste, not a white.
There is a pepper.
taste.
It's hard to place, but there is a pepper.
Yeah. Like I get that spice, that red pepper
Well,
spice.
if it's pepper, there's got to be some. There's got to be there's some Nicaraguan in it.
There's some
somewhere,
Nicaraguan in for sure.
for sure. You know what I mean? That's a.
I would be
characteristic.
shocked if there was not Nicaraguan tobacco.
Yeah. And because of the smoothness, and I really like Honduran Nicaraguan mix. I'm not too sure, but I'm getting close to having that be my answer, like a Honduran mix.
I don't know. It's not chocolate.
Nah.
So maybe molasses caramel.
Yeah, trying to do
Totally.
molasses.
Yeah.
Trying cedar, definitely. I don't know nuts. I'm not too sure. I don't know.
I call it more of a molasses kind
Yeah.
of. There is a sweetness to it.
there is.
I want to say there is a sweetness, but it's not a heavy sweetness. It's more like that molasses sweetness where you like taste something sweet, but it's not really sweet.
Yeah.
That's actually. I'm not a big sweet person, so I like my sweets to be less sweet. I don't know if that makes any sense, but when you taste molasses, It's almost like it has a bitter mixed in with sweetness for that kind of style flavor.
So we're pulling Nicaraguan. We agree with that. You don't believe it's some sort of broadleaf? With the no? Then what the hell could the wrapper be? Guesses. Oh, you don't think it's broadleaf? No?
I don't know.
All right, not yet. We'll see. Well, I can't ask you what you
Well, it
think,
could be.
Jason.
I mean,
you know.
but you know, I'll give you some evidence to back up your broadleaf is those nice veins. Like, see that nice vein
beautiful.
it's got in it? Usually broadleaf will have those nice veins in it. Because broadleaf is that really, I mean, that's why they call it broadleaf, because it's a really big leaf.
Yeah.
And those large leaves have those big veins in them.
Plus, I'm a twirler.
But I mean, I could be completely wrong.
Like, I'm a twirler with cigars, so it's like all chewed, and even though I didn't cut it and whatnot, that's just there, and like you could feel like the veins on the oily wrapper.
Oh yeah.
The mouth feels very dry.
Oh yeah.
Did you get that we think it's dry?
Yeah. Right. All right, I guess we'll go back.
So,
to
like, I wouldn't pair
Is
this
it
with
dry?
a dry wine.
Is it dry?
Yeah, I think it's dry.
I'm enjoying the cigar so far, though.
If you
Just so you
had-
know, this is the first time I've had this cigar. Just so you guys know.
Oh, really?
haven't
You
had-
haven't
I
smoked
haven't
this
smoked
before?
this cigar
Oh,
before.
so what are your thoughts? We've been rambling on thinking that you've had this cigar before,
No.
Jason.
So you talked about the sweetness and on the cold draw, and then the initial first third I had on the retrohale, I got a little bit of like a raisin. Could
Could be
sweetness.
raisin too.
Raisin
yes, because
sweetness.
raisins are sweet, but they're
But
not
they're
like
not
over
like
the top
super sweet.
Yes,
So
correct.
it's that raisin.
Raisin
Do I
molasses
dare
are
say
very.
I mean that raisin prune kind of.
It's almost like a
dry
grape.
grape.
It's
kind
like
of,
a grape that's been dried
yeah,
out.
That's it.
That's what raisin.
100%.
Jason.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is what a raisin is.
Dried grapes.
Those are raisins.
Raisins. Yes. But that's what it. Yeah.
You know what's funny?
I had that raisin
I
taste.
very rarely eat raisins, and I had some the other day.
I really like them. With trail mix,
Yes,
like raisins and nuts together.
I had it with cheese and crackers.
Really?
And it came with raisins. One of those little packs you get at the supermarket.
Yeah.
Lunchables.
It's like an adult.
No,
it's
it's
an
not,
adult.
it's not pepperoni and
No.
Ritz.
It's an adult Lunchable. That's exactly what it is. It's an adult. Usually there's like, supersada with some cheese and crackers. It's an adult Lunchable. That's exactly what it is.
My father used to put raisins in meatloaf.
Why not?
That's part of my emotionally scarring backstory.
Really? I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I like bacon on meatloaf.
You were emotionally, right? You were emotionally scarred by your raisins in your meatloaf. Because as a kid, that's terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think when you're older, you realize the savory from the meat coupled with that slight sweetness from the raisins could be a good thing. Although I don't know, I wouldn't personally.
You know what,
I wouldn't put raisins in my meatloaf.
No.
I could see it more with craisins. Cranberry.
Cranberry and meatloaf.
Cranberry. I make meatloaf, but I wrap it in bacon.
Bacon. It's so good.
Jason had it.
So good.
I'm glad you liked it.
Oh my god. It's so good.
So you basically make a giant meatball, right? I mean, like, there's really, you can't screw up. It's hard to screw.
Big meatball.
It's hard to screw up a giant. It's 2 pounds, so I do it 2 pounds. So I made 2 of them. So I had 4 pounds of meat, right? And you make a giant meatball. So you can put, like, you would, I don't know, you put eggs and seasoning and like whatever.
And
like,
by the way, at the end of that day, we're all giant meatballs.
yes.
We ate and,
like,
drank and ate
if you
and
want to
drank.
be fancy, like, I take the 2 pounds and I separate it in half, and then like I make like a little channel in it, and you put cream cheese and some more seasoning, and then you put it together, and then you wrap it in bacon. The hardest part of the whole thing is making your bacon weave.
Yeah.
Is you lay the strips out.
Which that was pretty skill. That was skill.
You watch a
was
YouTube
skill.
video, and once you do it once, man, like it's not hard. It's not hard. I was intimidated by it. I do have to say, I was intimidated. I'm like, I gotta make a bacon weave. Once you do it once, you're like, it's just a matter of like a brain tease. Like once you work your way through it, it's fine. So you do that, and then I put it on a piece of cedar. So I take a cedar plank and I soak it in water for at least an hour. That helps preserve the moisture and protect it from the flames on the smoker or grill, whatever you're gonna put it on, right? So I set it on that, and then you basically just smoke it for a couple of hours. And if you want to get really fancy, at the end you just put some barbecue sauce on it, crank your heat up a little bit, let that barbecue sauce set in, and you've got bacon wrapped stuffed
Bomb.
meatloaf.
Absolutely bomb.
It is
It was so good.
crowd favorite of all the things I make. It is a crowd favorite for sure.
So good. But yes, we were all giant meatballs by the end of that party. It's a good party.
Fun times. So there's my recipe for. I mean, you can Google search online. That's what I took 2 different recipes and I took what I liked from both of those and put them together. So yeah, Tatuaje 10th anniversary Belle Ancre Reserva. You guys remember this cigar? This came out in, let's see if I can get it. The review that I found for it was from 2014. April 2014. Limited edition Connecticut broadleaf. Now see, you say Connecticut broadleaf. If you look at the picture of this one, that wrapper looks darker. Although color isn't necessarily... Some wrappers can be darker than others, right? Depends on a lot of different things. But that is a Connecticut broadleaf wrap cigar. And let's see. So this is Nicaraguan binder and filler. So now I'm thinking like when I smoked this one, where there's similarities to this one that we're smoking now. Actually, this one still had a ton of kick. So like this one's what? At least 8 years. So it's been sitting in my humidor for at least 8 years, right? So it's a perfecto shape. Recently made its way to retailers at the time. So recently made its way to retailers in 2014. So that's probably when I bought this box. In the box, it doesn't have a picture of the box. This is from Cigar Coop. But the box was a wooden cigar box, but then there's this neoprene zipped cover that goes over it.
Oh yeah,
it was really cool. No, I don't keep it zipped in my humidor because I like it to breathe a little more. But so you got to unzip the box, and the cigars are inside, which is pretty cool. Kind of neat to have in your humidor. 5 3/8 by 48, and it's right now. It's amazing, like how much the strength and flavor has persisted over the 8 years. This thing's been sitting in my humidor. These things are smoking really, really well. Because like we've talked about on previous shows, a lot of cigars have a tendency to age out. This one did not age out. So I have a couple in my box. If it reminds me, I'll give you guys one to smoke.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Well, speaking of aging out, what do you think of that 116-year-old J.C. Newman that they found? The box of J.C. Newmans that they found. Did you see that article?
It's on display now. Yeah.
Oh my God, in their museum. So what ended up happening is, at least from what I read in the article, somebody had it in their basement in Texas for a long ass time, right? So they found it. They ended up giving it to a nonprofit to auction off, and the guy who ran the nonprofit was like, "Oh my God, this is a 116-year-old Cuesta Rey cigar pack, like a box of cigars."
The box looks absolutely
isn't it freaking
amazing?
Isn't it fucking cool? I mean, these suckers are from 1906.
Wow.
And he's like,
so Cuban? Is there Cuban tobacco in there?
Cuban tobacco, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Cuban tobacco.
It looks like it's almost in. No, I was going to say.
It's 100 cigars in there total.
I see.
Display case carried 100 cigars. 116 years old. The guy who was in the nonprofit reached out to J.C. Newman because he's like, you know what? These things are so old. There's no way I can auction these off. Let me go talk to J.C. Newman. And they ended up doing like a barter. J.C. Newman gave them a bunch of stuff that they could
auction off.
So they could auction off, took it back, and
probably get more money for whatever Newman gave them, and let them preserve these, cigars.
Folds of Honor is the name of the nonprofit.
That's a full box, man. Like it hadn't been not one cigar out of this box had been.
No.
Ponce de Leon is on the back kind of cover. It looks like some mold or
and they're like it's
something on the top cover too, like some spotting on the top cover.
But from what I read, the cigars are in good shape. Like they're in really, really good shape.
The cigars look like they're in good shape.
Totally.
Some of them have some cracking on. Hold on.
But they're 116 years old, my friend. I mean,
Did anyone try to smoke one?
No,
it doesn't look like it. Because that's what I would like.
They're putting him in the museum.
Yeah, I would try. But cigars are meant to be smoked. But it's hard when you've got a full box of 116-year-old cigars to break that up.
Right.
But I don't know. I would
number one.
I would smoke one, and then I'd have my rollers roll one that looks kind of similar.
But I mean, amazing find, and thank God for the guy who headed the nonprofit who was smart enough to call J.C. Newman and say, "I got to do something with this," instead of auctioning it off, right? Because it's history, man. I mean, that's such a great part of cigar history right there. And to go back to J.C. Newman and say, here you go, let's figure out something to
Does
make
it say
it work.
anything about the cigars, like how they're made, why they were made?
So let's see. It was a sampler, so it had all different cigars in
Oh,
it.
so those are all different cigars.
Yep.
Oh,
Separated,
now I
separated
see
into
it.
5 trays. Based on the 20 different shapes and sizes the line came in.
I've seen
Hand
manufacturers
rolled in the
do that.
U.S. with Cuban tobacco.
And according to the article, it was like a traveling case
Yeah.
for the traveling.
Yeah, you can see the
quote-unquote
handle on the case.
salesman
Yeah, yeah,
who
Like
yeah.
a wood,
who would
wood case.
display it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was display, and then
Yep,
they
yep.
would be able to sell it at the time or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. So it's in the museum at J.C. Newman.
Oh, it says right. So Cuesta Arroyo was one of Tampa's biggest and best-known cigar brands for much of the 20th century. Its history goes back to the late 19th century when young Spanish immigrant Angel de la Madrid Cuesta started a cigar factory and garnered a reputation as a premium cigar roller. Years later, he formed a partnership with Peregrino Rey, and Cuesta Arroyo was born. These cigars earned them the respect of high society, particular Spanish King Alfonso XIII, who honored Cuesta with the title of Tobacco Purveyor for the Spanish king and court. That's some pretty
Pretty
cool piece
awesome,
of history
huh?
right there, huh? It's awesome.
So yeah, I thought that was a great article, man.
Yeah, that is really cool. I want to, but I want to see what smoke one. I want to see what it. Like I want to. I mean, I don't. I'd love to smoke, but like I'd like to see someone's thoughts on smoking one of those things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Could be stale.
Think so?
I don't know. They age out after 6 years.
I know. Oh, never mind 116.
Is that what? That's got to be one of the oldest cigars. 116-year-old cigar.
Around,
say-
around now that you can maybe, yeah. I mean,
I want to say, like, I've read Cigar Aficionado used to smoke really old cigars and review them. Some of the oldest ones they had in there might have been 50 years old.
Yep.
Maybe 50 years old when they were doing that. I don't know if they still do that. I had not seen anything more than 100 years old that I can recall off the top of my head.
so
But
these may be the oldest existing cigars out there right now.
I don't know about that. Maybe. Certainly up there, man. It'd be interesting to... That's an interesting piece of research.
Yeah.
What are the oldest cigars? And what can you find there's someone has reviewed like a reviewable oldest cigar. Like there's cigars that are old that
Sure,
exist and
sure.
no one's like smoked them and written a review. But like what is the oldest reviewed cigar
Yeah.
here today, September 2020? Like what review out there has reviewed the oldest cigar? My thinking is Cigar Aficionado used to have this section in their magazine where they did review like really old vintage cigars. I'm wondering what the oldest one was. My guess is Cigar Aficionado did it, but well, it's not 100 years old, but I did find in my own personal collection a 10-year-old cigar. Now it feels like I'm not talking about anything special now. Thanks for that, Jason.
You're welcome. I just want you to share because they're not that special.
That's right. They're not
So
that-
you
I
can,
feel
you can
like-
freely share. It's
We
not a
can freely-
116-year-old cigar. So if
Did
you
I
got a
put-
10-year-old, yeah.
I don't know if I put these in. I put the factory presses in my travel humidor, but I did not put any of the EP Carrillo, probably because they only had a couple left. But I want to say this was the box. It might have been this box. I fought like mold on a couple times.
Yeah.
like the tobacco just had a lot of moisture in it when I got it.
Yeah.
Kind of. I think it had to be these, and I fought mold on it, and I know that because some of the bands are missing from them, which means they had mold, and I was like cleaning the mold off of the outside to prevent it from getting any worse, putting them back, and in that process, like some of the bands went missing. But this is EP Carrillo Edición Limitada 2012, 6.5 by 56 Toro Goro, and these are smoking just absolutely amazing right now. Yeah, this is a flavor bomb. I mean, kind of fizzles out at the end.
Yep.
But it's Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, Brazilian binder, Nicaraguan filial. Do you taste any Brazilian in here? Is there Brazilian in this one we're smoking? I forgot about Brazilian tobacco for a moment there. I had a memory lapse.
Was that Matafina?
CAO Brasilia.
Is Matafina Brazilian?
Yeah, actually, CAO Brazil is dry too.
now we're off the rails. I think you're right, Jason. Matafina is Brazilian tobacco. Yes, you are correct. The most famous Brazil's cigar wrapper tobacco varieties, Mata Fina, is grown in the Rendescavo, I'm saying that wrong, of Brazil. Strip of land near the northeast coast, in case you were wondering.
Of course, always.
Mata Norte is a sub-variety grown in the northern part of Rendescavo. I'm not saying that right. In any case, I didn't get to practice that one. Sprung that on me.
Sorry, man.
It's all right. So if you got any EP Carrillo Edition Limitada 2012s kicking around, if you're like me and you keep cigars in your humidor for 10 years,
Forever.
you should smoke them now. Now
Feel
is the
free
time.
to share them with Jason.
Now is the time to be smoking these. I maybe have 2 or 3 left. That's about it.
Speaking of humidors, have you guys been fighting humidity? Like I've
all
been
summer.
fighting humidity
Dude,
all
summer
summer.
was bad.
Hard, so hard. Oh my god, every day wrestling with it. It's only getting better now. Like it's only just started getting
Like
better
having
for
to
me.
keep the box open.
Yeah, I've had to do a
Open the
lot of. I've
box,
done a lot of rotating. Yep.
Like I would come into the morning. Like I would have my humidors running maybe 67, somewhere in there, 68. I'd get up in the morning, get pinged, and they're at like 73, and I'm like, oh shit, and I'd have to go do my thing. It was like almost a daily activity for a while.
Yeah, you're gonna
I
get
find
that
like,
with the season change. Too.
Oh,
Especially Cuban cigars, but if you keep them in the box with the box closed and there's no cellophane on them, you make sure you gotta prop those open or something.
Yeah,
it's a bad day.
I was putting cedar sheets in there to kind of absorb some of it. Like I was wrestling hard with it. I took all my Bovita packs out. Like it was crazy.
Cigar beads.
Cigar beads.
I like the beads.
I have beads too. I have like the clear.
Not ones that you put. So there's 2 different kinds of beads. So I've got some beads that they're kind of like gremlins, right? Like you add water
And they grow. Yeah, those ones I have.
Yeah,
Those are the ones
those
I
I'll
have.
keep. Those are good for winter, especially, right?
Yep.
I keep those in the big jars in my cabinets.
Yep.
They have the fans on the top of the jar,
Yep.
right? But then there's other beads. I can't remember the name of them.
They're in a bag. They're
in
the
a
ones that you
bag.
have in a bag,
The ones I have in a
right?
bag.
Yeah,
Those don't expand. Those are just, you add a little bit of water to them, and it's a 2-way humidification system.
Yep.
So sometimes I should have done this summer.
But aren't the other ones 2-way too? Because they shrink.
They do, but they're different
then they
technology.
grow.
It's a
Okay,
different
gotcha,
technology.
gotcha.
Yeah, the ones in the bag stay looking like tiny little beads, right? The other ones, when they get water on them, they grow to the size of a marble, and they're completely clear.
Yep.
Yeah, so 2 different kinds.
Yep,
so
yep.
the kind that stay in the bead form in the bag, Heartfelt is the company that used to make them. I don't know if they're still in business now. I haven't checked, but Heartfelt beads. And what I should have done this summer, and I got lazy, is I take my Heartfelt beads and I put them in the refrigerator, regular refrigerator, just overnight.
In the summer, you do this.
In the summer, because what the refrigerator is going to do is remove all the moisture from them. Then you put them back in your humidor, and they can just absorb.
Yeah.
Because normally I'll take a bag and you take like a little like cap full of distilled water, and you put it over the beads, so that they've got some moisture in there to admit, and then they can also absorb. But over time, especially in the summer, they just absorb all the moisture, and they don't have any capacity to absorb more moisture.
Yeah.
And that's what you want in the summer, is something to keep absorbing that moisture.
I started getting worried. Like
pulled.
I was looking up on Reddit. Like some people were saying, well, you can buy like the scent-free, chemical-free damp rid, and put like a little thing in there, damp rid, and it just sucks it up. Like I was getting stressed. I was about to go buy my ass some damp rid. You know,
Yeah,
like
we were fighting with the humidor at Breakwaters.
Were you?
Yep, with that, and I was fighting with it at home. I'm like, that's weird. It's usually it changes seasons around now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When for us here in New England.
Yep.
But I was like, well, I can fix it temporarily. Just keep the door open for 45 minutes and then reshut it. Like I was
can't do
literally.
that. It makes it worse in the summer if you keep that door
Well,
open.
no, it wasn't
just
summer. It
absorbs
was
more.
about 3 weeks ago. I was just like, it's in the shop. The AC's still on, and it would go down, and then you do it, and then I'm like, all right, and then it was a Sky Oasis they were using, so I'm like, well, we were online and downloaded the manual and recalibrated it, and it seems to be
better,
pretty good now. But my humidor that I have in there, in that I was just leaving the lid open.
Oh my God,
I was like,
it's
it's
crazy.
crazy.
I ended up buying from my cooler door. I have 2 now. Did I tell you I bought a second?
No,
I bought a second.
I'm not
But,
surprised. Stick chaser.
Stick chaser. In my cooler door, I ended up buying the PC fans that you can buy.
Yeah.
That have like the I can control how fast they go.
Did you get a color? Did you get color changing?
I didn't get color change. I already have LED.
dude.
I already have LED
Come
lights in
on.
there, so I didn't need that. But what I ended up doing
Could've
was
done opposite colors.
face one at the top going toward the back and
Yeah.
one going toward the front down at the bottom, just to cycle the air. That helped. I'm going to tell you, that helped a lot.
What are you getting for resolution and frame rate on that?
Right. But I mean, I bought those and I stuck it in, and it helped. It really did. Just circulating the air through there helped drop the humidity.
Right.
But dude, it was a fight. It was a fight for a good couple of months.
It is.
It's just stabling
this
out
summer.
now.
This summer sucked for that.
Yeah, it was bad.
It really did.
It was bad. It was bad.
I mean, it was nice. You could leave them out too, and they'd be just probably better off than in the.
Yeah,
because
but you
in the
wanna know-
humidor, it's trapping all that humidity. It's
Yeah,
almost
but
better to just leave them out.
I took one of my hygrometers and I left it out in my room, like in my man room, and it was like 77, 78
Yeah.
some days with the AC on. It was just the air was thick.
So I have-
and like a lot of moisture in the air.
I have 2 Cuban cigars, probably 10 to 12 of each. One is a Punch Double Corona, and one's a Sancho Panza Belcoso. And they just want to grow mold. Like these cigars, like just want to fucking grow mold in my all the time. It'll be good for a couple of months, and then I'll go back and check on them, and they're fucking moldy again. I let them sit out for like an entire week outside of the humidor. Wiped them off and put them back.
So what? How do you wipe them off with?
Just a cloth.
Just a cloth. That's it.
I mean,
What,
I
like
should
damp,
have.
a damp cloth or no?
In previous times, I've wiped them off with a little bit of red wine.
Yeah, I was going to wait for you to
You've
finish.
mentioned
You
that
take,
before.
take
You
a
mentioned
rag,
that
some red
before.
wine, then you let them dry out, then you put them back. I've done
Yeah.
that with these probably twice now. Like it doesn't matter where I put them, how I store them. These fucking things just want to. So I'm thinking now, like winter, I'm just gonna take them out.
Yep.
And wipe them all down, and we just need to smoke them all or something because
Yes.
I can't deal with it. Like I'm like
Yes.
fucking done. Like let's just smoke them.
Next show.
Yeah. I'll bring them in the next show. And I gotta let them probably dry out for like a week before we.
Because I'm telling you, I was worried that I was going to have to do that. Fight mold problems every day. I was checking. I mean, I was pulling cigars out, making sure there was nothing
But this is
anywhere
why-
on this. Like
you know what,
the
though?
bottom of the piles, I was pulling them out. Just
This
to
is
make
why
sure.
I love
Oh, my
cellophane
God.
though. Cellophane is amazing.
Oh no, I know. But some cigars don't have cellophane.
I know. And you know what I've noticed too, especially when I first created Stogie Geeks, I bought a lot of singles. I mean,
Yeah,
I've got
I do that.
I've
a
got
lot.
trays.
I do that a lot.
And trays full of friggin' singles.
Yep.
And I was going through them the other day because now I've been home. Like I haven't been working here in the studio. When I work in the studio, I smoke out of this humidor.
Yep.
And it's usually like what we've been buying and stuff like that. But at home is where I have like now are vintage singles, like hundreds of vintage singles.
Yep.
And so I've been smoking through some of them, and I kind of consolidated some of my trays, and I noticed that cigars without cellophane, the wrappers have sustained damage just from being in the wooden trays, because I have one drawer in that humidor, but the rest are trays. And like anytime you lift the trays up or shuffle the trays around or rotate them, those cigars not in cellophane are kind of rolling around and sliding back and forth in there. And over the years, they've sustained damage. So like now I've got probably 10 to 20 slightly damaged cigars. I'm like, fuck. I mean, these have to be saved. Like we have to save them and smoke them, but it's some fucking work now.
Seriously.
It's a lot of work to fix these cigars, because I'm not the best at fixing them, but I definitely want to do that.
Next show.
Maybe I'll bring a couple in at a time or something.
Yeah.
Red wine. will
Red
do
wine
that.
does it.
That and plume too. Forget plume. I mean, you can scrape it off with the finger and rub it through.
Yeah.
But if you get some red wine, open
Now
a
a lot
bottle
of
of red
people say
wine.
a lot of people say plume is there's no such thing as plume.
I've been reading that too.
Yep.
They're like, plume is just fucking mold. I mean,
I think
it's the rabbit hole of the intranets that you go down, and you have every different opinion in the world, right?
my opinion, after doing a lot of research on this and talking with people who've done tobacco their entire lives, done cigars their entire lives, and worked for factories and master blenders, I've formed this theory that most of the time it is mold. It is some form of mold on your cigars.
Yep.
Right. There's another kind of weird slice of this. This was a pie chart, right? There's this other kind of weird slice that is mineral deposits. So like at some time in the process, it was exposed to some kind of water, essentially, that had minerals in it, like tap water, right? I mean, not that we would put that in our humidors. We're like, well, that's not what I'm saying. But at some time, there was water that had minerals somewhere in that cigar, and over time, those minerals developed into some kind of mineral crystallization
Deposit,
thing, which is, I mean, you probably a form of mold, quite frankly, right? Not as harmful as I think. Like I think there's different types of mold, right? There's green mold, black mold when it dies, and there's the white mold, and there's various characteristics. Like there is different mold, but let's put all that in one category and say the mineral kind of deposit is different. Usually that's not as problematic, right? But for argument's sake, I'll put that in mold.
Sure.
The other very thin slice is the oils crystallizing, and that's what we call plume. Very rare, and it's very even hard to see. Like you may barely see it on your cigars. I'll let you guys look at the Tatuaje 10th anniversary Palenque. I think there's a little bit of plume on them. I think
is it more like a sheen?
I'll show it to you so you can look at it, and you'll notice the difference between that and mold, because these cigars are in cellophane. And underneath the cellophane, I can kind of see them. Like that looks like an oil on the wrapper that has turned into some kind of.
And that's why I said more more like a sheen.
It's not even a sheen. It's like tiny little spots, like a few tiny little spots where you're like, yeah, maybe that is oil that crystallized. But that's very, very. It has to be the perfect conditions for that to happen, and it's extremely rare. So I don't think it. I don't agree with a lot of those people online that say everything is mold, and I don't agree with anyone that says everything is plume either. Right? Like there's some. I think it's a very small slice of the pie chart.
So speaking to that, changing seasons and fighting the humidity, you had an article about the best cigars to smoke in the fall.
So Phil Zangi told me once, and I think this is absolutely true. I think Phil and I were talking once, and it was when I was going out to Vegas, right? And I was like, when I smoke a cigar in Vegas, it's dry, but it's super hot outside. And when I smoke a cigar, I can smoke the same cigar inside, and I can smoke the same cigar outside in the fall, and it's like 3 different experiences. And Phil, because Phil's like a car and motorcycle guy, he was like, it's like a car. Like it does better in the cold air. Like you need that like cold air intake to have a better combustion. And he's like, it's the same thing for cigars. When you're smoking a cigar and it's 110 degrees outside, that combustion process is completely different from smoking it in a controlled environment inside of a lounge versus smoking in the fall. And I said, when I smoke a cigar like outside on the deck in the fall, and it's like a nice crisp 65 degrees outside, I'm like, cigar tastes totally different, like way better than if it's in, like we were describing summer here in New England, was 100% humidity and 90 degrees. Smoke a cigar outside, it's different. It's a different experience. And part of that is the combustion process. And he related that to cars. I'm like, I agree.
I do the same thing with whiskey. I mean, there's certain whiskeys I will not drink. Like Bunnahabhain, the real peaty, smoky. I'm not drinking that in the summer. The experience just sucks. But if it's fall and I'm out by the fire pit, and I mean, I would totally have that whiskey. Do you know what I mean?
Same thing with beer. In the summer, I drank a lot of like light lagers. What's the Belgian one? Belgian light lager, green bottle, Stella.
Stella Artois.
Great summer drinking beer, right? Now that we're kind of getting the fall, and you can get some of the, like, even the Sam Adams pumpkin's really good this year. I think this year is a good year for the Sam Adams pumpkin.
Yeah, it is really good.
I think it's really good. And that's more of a fall kind of beer.
But yeah, I can see some of these cigars. I mean, I think the Umbagog is on here. The Umbagog that you were just talking about earlier is on here.
Now I want to get some Umbagog. Because this cigar tastes like an Umbagog.
It tastes like an. It's got.
But I don't. But this is the
power.
Saccharin all over it. But it could be the power of suggestion, right?
This cigar's got something.
I watched the Plasencia ad, and I'm like, this kind of maybe this is a Plasencia cigar, right? Like
this is not. It's not as smoky. Plasencia to me, thick, dense smoke there.
Yeah.
But This got soccer. This is in the soccer radar. I'm sorry.
The
Because it kind of does taste like
Florida
a...
Los Antillas is another good one that I like.
Florida Los Antilles. Is that my
That's my
father?
father. I love that
I'm
one.
going through the Rolodex.
Yeah. Florida Los Antilles. That's
But
like
now
an
it's
everyday
just
smoke for
now
me.
it's
I
just
like
power
that.
of suggestion. But it could be. This kind of does taste like a meat.
So you
a
don't
meat
you don't
burrito.
think it's
it has
broad-
that meat burrito
it's
kind
Connecticut
of feel.
broadleaf though? We still didn't do the wrapper.
I have no idea.
How's the taste so far? I lost a little bit of the dryness. I'm on the last.
Yeah,
third.
I'm on the
It's
last
not as dry.
third. It's a
It's
lot
not
less
as-
dry.
It's not as dry anymore.
Either that or we're getting used to it.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
But no, I don't have like I had that cotton mouth kind of deal going on there for a little while. I don't have that anymore.
Yeah, cottonmouth is like soccer. Umbagog.
I don't remember Umbagogs being that dry though.
No. Okay. Well.
They drink some water every time we talk about it being dry. It needs to drink water.
Yeah. No, I don't know. The wrapper. It's definitely got
The
Nicaraguan.
wrapper color looks like Umbagog. I don't know. But as evidence with these kind of segments, I'm usually wrong. Usually wrong.
I want to go Nicaraguan Honduran.
See, but I'm not getting that earthy Honduran.
No.
Honduran has a very, very earthy profile. And I don't get that earthy profile. I get more like a molasses, wood kind of flavor from it.
I still have the pepper though.
Yeah.
It's a little bit lighter. It's not as like tingly,
Yep.
but it's like that back end, like after you eat, like that back end after you eat a hot sauce. Like there's that little bit of back end.
This is one of those cigars like today.
It's got a
even after
savoriness.
dinner, like it'll still be on your palate.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's got a savoriness to it.
It does.
It's not like a meat savoriness, but it has this savoriness quality to it. I can't pinpoint it though.
Filler. I want to say it's a Nicaraguan Honduran. Filler. That's my guess.
Is that your
I don't-
final answer?
I don't think.
I don't know.
Because I'll drop it. If you guys give me final answers, I'll drop it now.
What do we have till showtime? What do we have like?
We have
15,
till
20?
showtime.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's 4:20 now.
I'm
We're
getting
still got a
there.
little while. We're still got a
I'm
little
getting there. Nicaraguan.
while. All right. You guys let me know when you're
Honduran.
ready for final answer. Because
I'm not
Nicaraguan
ready for final answer.
Honduran and the
We
filler.
can't- we gotta wait till the
Wrapper.
very end
I don't
for
know.
final answer.
Wrapper.
let it last to the end, my friends.
It can't be Brazilian. Wrapper.
No, I don't think it's
Can't be
Brazilian.
Brazilian wrapper.
No matafina.
Ecuadorian. Is it? There's no Ecuadorian. Is there Ecuadorian in there?
Those run light, right? Characteristic, lighter, do they?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of I'm trying to go through like a Rolodex of a dark Ecuadorian cigar, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
The raisins, I put group.
Totally.
I would have never
raisins.
guessed raisins. What
Totally
the hell's that?
raisins.
But yeah, I
It was
put group
totally
on my
raisins.
notes. The group says
I got that
raisins.
right out of the gate.
See,
though.
I didn't.
I got that right out of the gate.
I got the pepper and the metallic in the earth.
Remember
right
in the
out of-
pre-show banter, I retro-hailed the cold draw.
Yeah.
That's where I got raisins. First.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're missing.
The raisins are dissipating though. It's a much
Oh yeah.
darker. It's a different flavor profile now. Like this second half I'm getting into, it's a different profile, slightly different profile now. It's kicked up a little bit.
Yep.
But you're not saying Honduran? Is that your?
I'm not saying Honduran. No.
You're not even saying like a Nicaraguan Honduran?
No,
mix?
Nicaraguan for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think there's Honduran here. I don't get that earthiness from any kind of Honduran.
Okay.
I don't know. Ask me in a few minutes.
Like, do I have to try to sell you on the Honduran? No. like, what do you want? Like,
You have to sell me on the Honduran. I don't get that earthy Honduran at all.
okay, that's cool. No.
I get
but you do
more
get
of a-
Nicaraguan, so that's a given. We got to be there.
Nicaraguan, maybe
Probably
some,
not
maybe
even
some
close. Like, oh my God.
Dominican, Nicaraguan, I would say. I don't get an Ecuadorian feel. Definitely not Brazilian.
So then, if it's Dominican,
Can you guys settle on the wrapper? How about that? Why don't you guys settle on the wrapper? Can
I
you
have
decide
no-
on the wrapper?
we're all over the map on the wrapper still. That's
shit, Jesus.
we know it's not Brazilian.
No.
We know it's not Maduro, or we think we know it's not Maduro. Is that
No,
safe?
it's not Maduro.
Yeah, it's not
Not
Maduro.
Maduro.
I'm in that, right?
Not
Right,
Maduro.
it's not
Maduro has
Maduro.
more of a chocolatey flavor profile.
Can it be
to
Connecticut broadleaf? Like, can it have?
Don't say yes or no. To
No,
any
no,
of
I'm
those
not
questions.
saying
No,
anything.
can it- no.
I'm literally going, I'm not telling you shit until you give me a
Can I
final
sell
answer.
you on a Connecticut? Because I'm just going through characteristics. Can it be a Connecticut broadleaf? Like, what's another darker?
There's a possibility. There's a possibility.
So if it's got Connecticut broadleaf, then you would mix it with Dominican Nicaraguan. Then I could be skewed with Dominican Nicaraguan and Connecticut
Where are you getting
broadleaf.
these rules from?
Because there's only
rules?
No. Paul, there's only hold on, you guys. There's only so many combinations that you can make and regions you can pull from. You're not gonna go Peruvian. There's no Peruvian in it. It can't be Peruvian in it.
Mexican. Maybe it has a Mexican binder.
Oh shit, we didn't even discuss binder.
We didn't discuss binder.
You didn't, did you?
Crap. We were running out of
And
time.
but I used to be.
we still got a half an hour.
I used to be able to pinpoint characteristics of a Mexican binder. The Mexican binders were like all the rage at one point in time.
But do Mexican binders burn faster for you?
Yeah, I don't remember.
The characteristic? I don't know. Because we were talking about at the KSG.
Yeah.
Next door.
Yeah.
We're talking about the KSG next door, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's a great stick." I'm like, "But," and I'm like, "It smokes too fast." They're like, "Yeah," I'm like, "It's the binder. It just smokes."
Yeah.
And I go, it reminds me of the old Tiamos. Oh, it doesn't taste like a Tiamo. No, I'm saying the characteristics of the smoke. Tiamos historically smoked faster.
I haven't paid this much attention to a cigar in a long time either.
This is called Stogie.
You're
I know.
welcome. You're welcome.
Right?
This
I
is
mean,
good,
I
but
wouldn't
this
say
is-
the cigar smoked fast.
No, that's why I'm saying it. I don't think it's Mexican. So what?
I mean, it
so
was a
what's-
7 and a.
So what's the characteristic of a Mexican?
Jason, but
What?
Jason smoked it the fastest out of
I
all
have.
of us.
I have.
If it's
I'm
San
really
An-
enjoying it though. Like I'm.
If it's
I
San
dig the cigar.
Andreas, is that Mexican? San
Yes.
Andreas
Yes.
is Mexican.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, so it can't be filler, so it has to be binder or wrapper. No, it can't be. No, it can't be. It can't be. It has to be.
Love this. This is great. This is great. We got to do this more often.
You don't know.
Well, San Andreas is usually a wrapper,
Okay, yeah. This is not Mexican San Andreas.
and the wrapper.
Yeah, because it smokes too. It smokes too fast.
Let's see.
I mean, it smokes too slow. For
Casa
Mexican.
Fernandez by Agranosa Maduro Robusto Extra is a San Andreas wrapper. What other cigars that we would CLE EPC La Historia is a Mexican San Andreas wrapper. Interesting. I smoked a lot of those cigars. I feel like I should be able to make those connections in my brain.
Now you're skewing my opinion with the Dominican.
Christoph makes a San Andreas Robusto.
Yeah.
My father-in-law Opulencia
Opulencia, yeah.
is a Mexican Rosado Oscuro.
Nah, it wouldn't be that.
How do you get? So, Rosado is,
There's no salt.
but Rosado is. I thought Rosado is a plant, a priming plant, not a priming, a plant, and Oscuro is like the process, like Maduro, that it would go through. Now I don't. Now you're really testing my.
Wait a minute. We were in Vegas and we spent 2 hours at Casa Fuente. You telling me characteristics of Rosado? That was 2019.
Well, yeah, because the 858 Rosado is there.
Yeah.
And rose colored. In the case of cigar wrappers, Rosado is also known as a Colorado Claro. The wrapper used to be found as a Cuban seed, increasingly found among non-Cuban cigars. Releases limited edition smokes. Yeah. Where did that come from? Holtz. Cigar 101. What are Rosado cigars?
Is that what you want? What are you doing? What are you looking at?
I get you going.
Mexican San Andreas.
The strains of wrapper carrying the name Rosado. So it's a Rosado, like I said, I believe, the real cigar geeks out there are yelling at me if I'm wrong, that Rosado is more like a strain of the plant. Oscuro, as far as I remember, is much like Maduro in terms of a process. That's how long that's the fermentation process that applies heat, would be Maduro or Oscuro. That is not a reference, well, it's somewhat a reference to color, but more of a reference to the process. Rosado is not a process. Rosado is strain of the plant. So that comes right back to my day job when we were like picking apart firmware and the boot product. Like it's very specific, but like it depends.
See, now you got me on this Dominican thing.
That was a great line.
Now you got me on this Dominican
That
thing.
was a great line.
I'm on the Dominican junk.
What about that Ramon Aones?
Ramon Alones?
Ramon Aones. I say it the
Aleones.
Spanish way.
That's cool.
Aones.
Ramon Aleones.
Iones House Reserve Humidor. Did you guys see that thing that I put out there? It's,
Now we're talking about
yes,
humidors.
I'm changing the subject.
okay.
Shit.
I'm changing the subject. You guys have been bantering back and forth,
Well, this
arguing
is
on
your idea.
Yeah, I love this. This is wonderful, but I got to break it up a little bit.
Are we like? Are we in the region?
You getting there?
No, don't say if we're in anywhere close. Don't. That's not part. That
Like if we're shooting
Well, no,
missiles.
but that's
You
a
guys
rule.
have literally talked about everything. So I mean, by me saying you're getting there doesn't matter. Think about that.
if
You've
we
gone
was-
from end to end.
if we were shooting
The only
missiles,
thing we know right now is it's not a Maduro and it's not Peruvian. That's all we know.
that's true. That's true.
it's definitely not Cuban.
That's
It's
all
not
we-
Cuban.
not Cuban.
That's
It's not
all we
Cuban.
know.
I checked the
Because
cap.
right, we've talked about.
We've defined the three things it's not.
But we've talked about Mexican. We've talked about Costa Rican, Ecuadorian, Dominican, Nicaraguan, Brazilian,
Connecticut
Honduran,
broadleaf.
Honduras, Connecticut broadleaf. I don't know. There's many. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. We've not talked about.
Nah,
It's definitely
there's
not.
no
Definitely
Pennsylvania.
not
That's
Talk about
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania at all.
See, so if we're shooting missiles, like, is the enemy like getting scared, or are we like not
no,
even-
you can't ask that. That's not. He's not supposed to tell us. That's part of the fun. Is guessing.
So that humidor is
Oh, yeah.
a $25,000 humidor with 61 Cuban cigars in it. Only made for the United Kingdom.
All
But
right,
it
but
has the private stock 230.
Here's where I'm at with that, though.
Yeah.
All these special humidors, right?
That's some
The
big,
big
money.
bucks.
Big bucks.
You know the cigars that I could buy with that money.
Uh-huh.
If you gave me a $25,000 cigar budget,
Seriously.
right?
and we came back to the Stogie Geek show,
Yes.
and we were smoking from Paul's $25,000 cigar budget, you guys would be happier than pigs, and you know
Oh,
what?
I bet.
Like you would be.
I bet.
You would be happy. Like we'd be smoking.
And I chain
Patrons,
articles. I chain articles. So
Davidoffs.
that was right next to my article about Michael Jordan's habits and how he gave himself a $940,000 a year cigar budget.
That's a serious cigar budget.
Dude, that's like a ludicrous video right there.
500,000. So his budget was between 500K and 940,000 a year. He would smoke at least 6 cigars daily. But he gave himself a budget of 500K to 940K a year for his cigars. Probably still does.
What's he smoke?
He was a big Opus X fan back in the
Yeah?
day. Actually, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so that's like 3 sticks.
I mean, but holy, can you imagine a $940,000 a year cigar budget? Holy shit. How do you, I mean, god damn.
For the man who has it all.
That's right.
That's insane. Almost $1 million in cigars. There are some cigar shops that probably have $1 million in cigars in them.
At one time, I want to say it's at least a couple 100,000 to get a humidor off the ground. Like
To get it off the ground.
yeah, to like
What, for
like-
retail?
Yeah,
Let's say
I'm thinking like a
let's say the 4 of us want to create a cigar shop. Now,
Yeah.
those listening that know these actual numbers, please like weigh in because now I'm guessing off memory. I want to say this is so.
But how
this-
long ago was this memory too? Because
That's what I was just going to
inflation,
say.
maybe.
This memory's at least 5 to 7 years ago,
Yeah.
right? Years old. Your humidor initial inventory cost is around 250,000. So today you're probably around 350,000 to have a good amount of facings to get a cigar, and then, that's gonna depend, right?
Right.
You're in hundreds of thousands of dollars in inventory,
Yeah.
in just your cigar humidor, let alone your cost to like rent and build out and all that stuff. Like your humidor alone is hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like I'm probably
for stock though, not to build the humidor.
That's just stock.
That's
That's
what,
just
yeah,
stock.
Exactly it.
humidor is probably not all that bad to build.
No?
Probably less cost than the cigars cost you're putting in it.
Oh yeah.
You know, what I mean? Look, but
Spanish cedar's expensive though, no?
yeah, but even still, it's a one-time cost, right?
Yeah.
That
can
you
you
don't really,
imagine-
you're going to recoup that cost in
We're-
your. You're going to churn over your
Yeah,
inventory
yeah.
and make money on
Right,
it, right?
500K to 940K a year. Woo.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. What would you buy with a $25,000 a year cigar budget? Like, what would you go out of the gate? You
And
just
that's
go,
like
you'd buy.
That's like 6 a day.
He was smoking 6 a day, but I'm sure he had some that he kept over
where
time
was
as
my
well. I mean,
10 best Davidoff cigars? So
I knew you'd be in on the Davies right out of the gate. I knew it. Go to.
Yeah, Anniversario. I mean, you got a big cost there with my Anniversario habit, right? Because those Toros and Anniversario number 3s are running you around $500 a box retail.
Yep.
Right.
Is that your favorite Davidoff?
I could smoke one of those every day, Jason.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, like if you put Anniversario number 3, I think is that little Perfecto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a few of those.
And the Toro size. What is that? A special? Is it a specialty? Is it Toro special or specialty is a pyramid? Special R is the pyramid. There's a Toro size one. Those two. I mean, again, I could friggin' smoke one of those every day.
Yeah. I like the Grand Cru.
Grand Cru is good.
I dug that.
The draw on some of those are.
Yeah.
Draws a little too snug for me. I mean, not that they're plugged, but it draws a little too snug.
And I think I've told you guys before, I dig the Nicaragua. Like,
Nicaragua's
I really
good.
like the Davy Nicaragua.
Yeah.
I really like that cigar.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite.
Late hour.
That's probably my favorite.
There's a
Davidoff,
lot
is a
not on
Nicaragua.
this list. This list is kind of just meh. I would go Colorado Claro.
Good one. Yep.
In the Perfecto size
Yep.
and in the special T, I think is the pyramid. Special T is pyramid. Special R is pyramid. I forget which. The pyramid size in that one. Those are 10 count boxes. Those are you need at least 3 or 4 of each of those in there. Then there's their limited kind of stuff. Oh, but they're what's the one that's a Robusto? It's stronger.
Specialty is Torpedo.
What is the Davidoff Robusto? I get it in the Robusto, and it's a stronger Davidoff. What's it called? I have one in my travel case.
Late hour?
No, it's actually a Davidoff. It's a Davidoff. What's it called? It's a stronger one. Oh, the name is escaping me. I don't remember what it's called now. No,
I don't think I've had the Millennium.
Escapes me.
Because the Millennium was in this list. I don't think I had that.
It's a Robusto.
All right, so you'd go out, you
Anyway,
buy a bunch of Davies.
keep talking while
What
I
else would
find
you
it.
buy, though?
Intenso. Thank you. I knew it was something like that.
Yeah.
Robusto Intenso. Yeah, it's $32 a cigar. For a box of 10.
Goddamn.
It's $320. Yeah.
So what else?
So I buy those.
Besides Davies. All right.
So then I go-
So right there, that's what, $5,000 of cigars right there. What
Then
else?
I go Padron. Like pretty much any of the family reserves.
Yep.
40th.
Yep.
I like the 40th.
The
It's a
50th was
torpedo.
good. That 50th.
50th was good. Those were like
That's what we smoked last
$50 to
show.
$100 a cigar
Really
or whatever
good.
it is for
Really
those.
good.
Yep. I'd go
What was the
those.
one you smoked?
So
at the
now you're
party?
racking up a tab.
46. You smoked what? 40 was it? What was the one?
46. Yeah, all the
46 you smoked at the
What's
party.
the budget? 5,000?
25K.
Oh, yeah. I'd go.
family. I mean, you go family reserve, you can't go wrong. Especially any of the Maduros.
Yeah.
The 40th, 1926 40th is one of my favorite Padrones. Especially the Maduro, I think takes the cake over the natural on that one. Those are like $500 a box. I mean, they're basically $500 for a box of 25 of those.
I'd buy all the Ezra Zions and taunt the fanboys. That's what I would do. So that would
Would
be,
you?
Yeah. With 25K, I would just taunt them and sell them one by one and make them wait 30 days
Triple
for
the price.
shipping. No, I wouldn't triple the price.
And then-
I
but
would
then
just
you've,
I would just skew a channel. You know
So
what I mean?
I think I've got 6 left from a Fuente Cigar Family Charitable Foundation box.
Yeah.
Those come in like every year it's different, and each cigar is coffined, and they're about $1,000, $800 to $1,000 over time. They're probably north of 1,000 now for that box. Usually I find a box every couple of years. I almost had a box this year. Mr. J's had one.
Yeah.
And by the time I had gotten back and be like, oh, I decided I'll take it. It was gone.
Was that the one when I was there with you that he showed you the box? Oh, no, you bought that one.
That
You
was
bought that
a
one.
smaller sampler pack.
Got it.
Yeah, those are new. I had not seen those before.
Yeah.
Those I smoked a couple out of those that you shouldn't really age. You just smoke them now, and the rest I'm letting age. But the CFCF boxes kind of come out every year since a certain period of time, right? And they're usually, like I said, 800 to 1,000. So I'd definitely buy those.
Yeah.
I'd buy those up. The Davidoff Royale, those ones that are like, I don't know if that's worth it, to be honest with you. I mean, those are expensive cigars, but I don't know.
I haven't heard anybody talk about a Cuban cigar.
Nah.
No, Cohiba. Yeah, I would definitely buy.
Yeah.
But I would buy. We were talking about the other day, Magicos. Cohiba Magicos.
Yeah.
Magicos Maduro. Hold on, let me look up what are they charging for these? Cohiba Magico Maduro Short Robusto. Oh my god, it's freaking. Can't touch these cigars now. Yeah, here it is right here.
Can you still find Lusitanos?
No, so they want $100. They want $100 for this cigar.
Can't find them anyway.
Cohiba Maduro 5 Magicos. They want $100 per cigar. I split a box of these. They were nowhere near $100 a cigar. That's really gouging. They want $2,000 for a box of 25. That is a really good cigar. Let's see what they really cost. Let's go to one of my secret ones and go to Cohiba, see if they even have them. Cohiba Esplendidos, $2,580 for a box. They don't carry the Magicos. They carry the Secretos, which aren't as good. Secretos are running at $960 for a box of 25. Yeah. Craziness. Craziness.
$25,000 budget.
That's what I would buy. I don't know how we're doing on the $25,000, but we're up there.
I'm almost done. Look at this. It's been a good smoke, man. I dig it.
It is really good. No, guessing and all that aside, I really enjoyed smoking this cigar.
Good.
Like it was very dry up front, as we established, but the flavors were all really good. I think the smoking experience was great. Like overall, like it burned, draw was really good. The flavors were really good. Like now that it's kind of beyond that halfway point, I'm getting into the like final third almost. Like it's still kicking ass. Like
totally.
It's really good, held up throughout in terms
flavor.
of like I got really good flavors all throughout. Like I was like really paying attention to the flavors and trying to guess. But again, all that aside, like I would smoke more of these.
Yeah,
I would. This to me is box worthy.
Are they readily available?
I'm not going to answer that question at the moment.
Yeah, like it's got some really good.
I'll answer that question at the end.
Okay.
Really good savoriness.
Oh yeah, that last third.
Oh, it's almost like a
very
dark.
savory.
It's like a dark raisin sweetness. Almost. I'm almost getting dark chocolate now in the final.
Yeah.
Like cocoa.
Yeah.
Dark
It's
cocoa.
not sweet like chocolate. It's like a cocoa.
It's like a dark chocolate is sweet, but it has like a little bit of that kind of bitterness
That
to
bitter
it to
flavor.
offset. Yeah.
Like the palate we like, because I don't like sweet either. I like more of that bitter. It does have that back end cocoa.
Yes.
Still got pepper though. I still have some pepper.
Yeah, a little bit of pepper. Yeah. But that the flavor profile in the final third has changed. It's definitely a dark chocolate. I'm digging it. Like I said, box worthy.
Yeah.
Joe,
Yes.
guessing aside, your take on this cigar.
Take on the cigar. I mean, definitely box split with a friend if it's readily available. If it's not, go.
No, don't talk about availability. Just, what do you think of the cigar?
Oh, the cigar. It's slow burning. Obviously, super dry.
Yep.
Raisins, molasses. You get some cedar trying to poke through. I still want to go Nicaraguan, Honduran, and I know you want to go Nicaraguan, Nicaraguan, Dominican.
Nicaraguan, Dominican. I don't think there's any. If I had to guess, I would say not Honduran at all. I would say definitely Nicaraguan. It may have a Mexican binder. I'm going to throw that out there as a guess, just in case I'm right. I want to throw that out there. Like it may have a Mexican binder. I just got this. I don't know. It's just some intuition kind of thing, like that flavor profile. That I can't quite remember. Like I feel like I used to know it better, but I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if you told me Mexican binder.
Are they on track?
I can't tell. Still got a little bit of time to go here.
No,
I'll
let's
give
do
it.
it.
You want to do it now?
Let's
All
do
right.
the reveal.
So the construction on this was amazing, by the way, all the way through the cigar, like amazing.
Yeah, let's get Jason's
Burn
take.
was
and then-
amazing. Flavor profile, absolutely it. Front end had that earthy, very dry, very dry. That raisin was throughout the entire cigar.
Yep.
I didn't get cedar until probably that
No, I
second,
didn't-
third, until the end.
I didn't get a lot of those wood
light,
notes.
Light,
yeah.
light though. Light in there on the second, third, and the last third. With the pepper though, toward the last third, I got a little bit of a tiny bit of like saltiness to it. Just a little bit.
I was gonna ask.
Little bit of a
yeah,
saltiness.
Yeah,
to
sure.
it. A little bit of a saltiness to it. All right, so you guys actually, you want to do the reveal now?
Yeah, let's do the reveal.
Wait, what's
We've
our
talked-
final answer? So we
Yeah, all right, yeah.
close.
Give some final answers.
What's
All right,
what's
so
rapper?
let's go
Binder,
rapper
filler?
first. Let's go rapper. Both of you, rapper.
Connecticut broadleaf.
I gotta skew that way too.
You're both correct. Connecticut broadleaf number one.
Okay, yeah, I
just
can't
wanna
say number one,
but I
two,
just want to
5,
say
10, yeah.
what tipped me over on that one was visually was not so much taste and flavor.
Beautiful. It's
It was
beautiful.
visual, like I said, that big long vein. I mean, that was kind of a stretch that was just like going with my gut. That's what like tipped me towards
Connecticut broadleaf number one. All right, let's go binder.
Binder. I don't know. You got me skewing.
I'm saying Mexican. I don't know. But I'm pulling that out of my ass. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, what could it not be other than Mexican? What could it not be? Like that? That's the process of
I don't know.
elimination.
Binder's tough.
Binder's real tough, but I'll go a Paul on that one.
Binder, San Andreas Negro.
That's Mexican.
That's Mexican.
That's Mexican.
Oh! So then it has to
Beautiful.
be, so is it Dominican, Nicaraguan, or is it Honduran?
Well, now
Nicaraguan?
we're getting the filler. But
Filler.
the filler is next. But
Filler.
we were, I mean, just guessing. We got wrapper and binder.
You did.
And Jason gave us no hints.
Zero.
I mean, you guys
Nothing.
heard the whole thing.
Nothing, nothing,
Bill,
nothing.
be our witness, right? Jason gave no hints through that whole
Bill
thing.
was
Nope.
here pre-show. No hints. Zero.
No hints.
I literally laid
You
the
were,
cigars in front of them right before we kicked
Yeah.
off.
You kept it tight.
Kept it tight. Kept it tight.
Nicaragua's given.
That had to be hard.
So what's your final
I
answer?
think it's filler is Nicaraguan and Dominican. Now, could I tell you which region and which priming and all that shit? No, but my guess is Nicaraguan and then Dominican. That's just my guess.
I don't know.
I can't believe we got the binder though. I'm kind of proud of ourselves.
Good
for that.
job. Really good job.
And the wrapper. That's impressive.
I want to. I don't know. I'm getting the Honduran, man.
Just put in Honduran. You never know.
But I don't know. I want to be right. And what if you're right? Then you know.
Dude, we got wrapper and binder, man. Like we can't, like we're pushing our luck now.
Yeah,
Show's over.
Like we're at the
Roll it.
craps table. It's time to cash out.
I have to go Nicaraguan, Honduran with my gut. I have to go
All
with
right,
my gut.
I'm going Nicaraguan, Dominican.
You boys are both
Both wrong.
no filler. Nicaraguan, Honduran, Dominican.
Look at that.
All right, so what you guys just smoked?
Oh yeah. So now, what the fuck did we smoke? I'm guessing it's like I mean, Umbagog is just what was put in my head, but I don't.
Dunbarton, Mikari the Saka Khan.
The Carita.
Get out.
Black. It's the black.
the-
So
I
listen.
don't-
So just came out.
Okay.
Came out recently. They only made what was it? Hold on.
Didn't
Let me
I
find
said through the thing like it kind of tasted like a
So-
Micarita.
Yeah,
There are only 3,500 boxes of 10 cigars each produced of this. It's the Mikari the Black that's coming out now. They're gonna do more, but right now, only 3,500 boxes.
I think I saw this on-
I had to pre-order these.
I think I saw this and I was like, I really want to try that because
I
I
had to
love
pre-order
I
these.
love Micarita. And I
I
love
had to
Steve
pre-order
Saga.
these.
Steve's
Yeah.
a great guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
You guys did great.
Are we gonna do
I
another
didn't
one?
think we were.
I pre-ordered these and
I think-
and they've
we
been
should
in
do
my
this. We
they've
should
been
do
in
this.
my
You
humidor
truly
for
are Stogie
a
geeks.
little less than 30 days. A little less than 30 days.
You truly
Because I
are.
pre-ordered.
See, but without
these.
Joe though, I would have been lost.
Well, no, without you,
So,
without
Joe
you,
and I,
because
yeah.
it's like
We-
he was
we-
saying the
we tag teamed it.
characteristics. I'm like, well, if it's
Yep.
got to be this, then it has to be this, and that, you know what I mean? Like you just process of elimination.
Yep. So the nickname of this one is Saka Khan, like Shaka Khan.
Shaka, like the.
Saka
I remember
Khan.
seeing these.
Okay.
I'm like,
Feel for you.
All right, cool. Nice. Nice. So we got wrapper and binder, and then filler. We were split, but we got the elements.
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, we said Umbagog. I wonder how different the Umbagog blend is from what we described.
Yeah. Guys killed it.
What is the Umbagog blend now?
Find it.
That's crazy. I'm
Good job.
excited.
Good job. Good job.
So we got like a 98.
Yeah.
on it. We're
Yeah.
missing one.
Yeah.
Of each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kicked ass.
The San Andreas, like, as soon as you put the Dominican in my head, I'm like, oh, maybe, but I don't know.
So
like,
Umbagog is a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and filler.
okay.
No, so
Imagine that.
what about the rest of the Mi Querida line?
I can tell you.
Yeah,
in a
it
moment.
smokes like a Micarita.
Yeah. It was a really good cigar, man.
Yeah.
Really good
Oh.
cigar.
Saka makes.
Socket does it right.
That's why, like, I'm like, it's got Saka. I'm like, but, like, Soba Mesa. I'm like, no way, it's not a Soba. I get that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, and you know what? By me ordering this, and I got a few other cigars, you know what I ended up getting out of this? A Saka Squatch.
Oh,
The Sasquatch
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the cigar in his mouth.
look at that. Stick
Yeah,
chaser.
Micarita is listed the same way. Connecticut wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and filler.
yeah.
So this one's different in that it has Nicaraguan, Dominican, and Honduran filler, that was kind of throwing us through a loop. Like we were like,
So
what
this will be
fuck?
the Mi Querida black line, is what they're calling it.
This is new and limited so far.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I couldn't get over the dryness though.
Yeah, it is super dry.
That was my one
Yep.
kind of knock on the cigar.
But rested, you think maybe that would change?
I don't know. It's a good question. I was just
We'll
thinking
see. I still got a few more.
Oh, yeah.
that. I think we should do this every month now.
You want to
This
do a
was
blind
fun.
testing
This was
every
fun.
month?
This is fun.
It was.
And
really
I'll be
fun.
sure to have the same cigar that you're.
Yes,
that
yes.
you
I
have.
didn't know you were
You
coming.
know,
I
next
didn't
time
know
we'll
you were
bring
coming.
extra. We'll bring extra.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will say regarding the Cloud Hopper, it was a good cigar. It
Yep.
It actually improved with time
Yep.
as it got further down. Burned a little too quickly.
Yep. But I mean, it's a 5 1/4 by 42.
Yeah.
So not a big ring gauge. That one is a Nicaraguan Corojo wrapper, Nicaraguan filler, and binder. So that's the warped Cloud Hopper.
I would
number 53.
I would have one again.
Warped makes good cigars.
Warped is making some stuff.
They're making some really good cigars. No doubt about it.
Wow. Foster's strong in that one.
Yeah.
One of the cigars that really, truly impressed me this week is the God of Fire Series B Robusto. I linked to the half wheel review on the Grand Toro. This is a Prometheus, series that they do. You can find these in boxes of 10. It is a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, ironically
Did you
enough.
smoke the cigar?
I smoked the cigar this week.
Nice.
Yeah, like I had a box sitting there. I don't even remember where I found it. I might have found it online. Like anytime I see the Robusto, these are boxes of 10. It says $240. So I mean, it's definitely like a special cigar at that price point, right? And they're kind of hard to find. They're not super limited, but you can. I want to say I first found these. I don't remember when I first found them, but I remember being at what's the store in Orlando? Is it Jeff's store? What is that called? Right in downtown Orlando, big cigar shop. It's not Smoking. It's the other one.
Neptune?
No. What's it called? Other than Corona. I was physically standing in Corona Cigar, and they had these. I'm like, I want whatever's left in that box. There might have been 8 left in the box. And like every time I've had this cigar, it is the same experience and it is absolutely wonderful. These have a little bit of age on them, maybe a couple of years in my humidor. And I broke it open, I smoked, and I was like, oh my God.
And you had the Robusto, you said? The Robusto Gordo?
The Robusto is the one to... It is a Robusto Gordo. Yeah, it's like a slightly larger Robusto.
Yep.
The dark cherry sweetness, it just persists throughout this cigar and is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Now, in the article, it says the Robusto Gordo is Ecuadorian sun-grown, but the Grand Toro is Connecticut broadleaf.
Oh,
Maduro.
interesting.
Yeah. So what you smoked was a little bit different.
Maybe it is different. The Robusto is the way to go.
Way to go.
Oh, it is ridiculously good.
So that would be the Series
B,
Robusto
Series B.
Gordo 54.
Yeah.
5.5 by 54.
Delicious.
Delicious.
It's like one of those, like, you're like, I want to eat it. It's so good. That was amazing.
That's great. That's great.
So my $25,000 cigar budget, I would include.
You would include
multiple
those?
I'd include these as
Yeah.
well. For sure.
Very good. Very good. So what are we gonna do next show?
Oh, I want to do another blind
Do you
tasting.
really?
man.
Do
Dude,
you really
that was
wanna
so
do another
much,
blind tasting?
It's so much fun. Well, you know why we want to do it? It's because we were able to guess correctly.
Yeah, but I
If
think
we had all guessed wrong, we'd be like, screw that shit. I don't want to do that again.
I think we know enough to extract from each other.
Yeah,
To-
we
to
needed
decide
each
what
other.
it's not.
Yeah, we had the tag.
You know what I
team.
mean?
Well,
Like-
it's like coding or pen testing, right? Like, it's always better when you've got two people.
It's the fusion team.
Two people.
You got a fusion team.
Sometimes you get more people and the waters get muddy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You got the
wanna vote by
whatever they
committee.
call it. I mean, there's been different names for it in actually writing software, right? They say teams of two do really well. And Joe and I like that was an example of that. Like we tag teamed it and we went through every single different freaking kind of tobacco. not every,
to
every
end,
country,
boys,
every
end to
country.
end.
We went to
Rolodex.
every country.
We can tell you what it's not right off the
Hey,
bat. Like,
why not? Start with what you know it's not.
Right.
Why not?
If that's what you have to do.
Eliminate what you know isn't. It's not going to be. Yeah.
yeah, I would have never
That's your
guessed.
troubleshooting minds.
That is. It is.
Yeah.
It absolutely
No doubt
is.
about it.
I would have never guessed the brand, but I was like,
But we did. But we
But
said
you did,
Uber.
though.
yeah,
You
but I
guys
was
were
like,
talking- you
yeah,
guys were
sure,
talking Dunbarton
So
a
we
couple
were
of
in the
times.
region,
You
so if we were
definitely
firing missiles, so they were getting scared.
Oh,
Whoever-
no,
they
no
were
doubt,
getting-
no doubt. They were popping off above our heads. I just didn't show it.
You know, game face, game face. You know,
I would smoke this cigar again. For
Oh
sure.
hell yeah!
yeah. It's
Well,
a good
and I'm a big
size.
Steve Saka fan. I like his cigars. So
Great job. It's a great cigar. No doubt about
surprises next month. That's it. It's settled
Yeah,
now.
seriously?
It wasn't a lot of work for you, was
Hell
it?
no.
Okay.
it. No, definitely not all.
I was
Like I
just
said,
worried
when
he's
we're
gonna
all
come
here,
up.
when
He's
we're all
gonna
here.
come up with like one of those crazy series, like a Pavard or something or that. That's when it's going to get murky.
I can do some
That's when it's going to
crazy
get
shit.
real
I'll do some
murky.
crazy
But I
shit.
know. But I think it's fun to mix it with.
But you want to know what though? The
Mix it
label and the
up.
brand doesn't matter. It's your palate and your taste and your ability to figure out what it is, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's the whole point. Why not? Why wouldn't I go some crazy? See, for this one, I'm like, you know what? I'll go with something that's a little bit more, a brand that's a little bit more mainstream. But I could go way boutique.
Yeah.
Way boutique on your asses.
the fun part about whatever you pick
Yeah.
is, I liked how you asked us like, what do you think? Like just the wrapper. What do you think the wrapper? What do you think the binder is? What do you think's in the filler?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Right.
Right. Like you're probably not gonna guess exactly what the cigar is. But it's interesting to see like what our rate is
Sure.
for successfully guessing
Yep.
wrapper, binder, and filler. And again, when I say filler, I mean Dominican Nicaragua. I'm not talking like
Yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
Is it what region in the Dominican Republic did this
Sure.
plant come from?
Sure.
What priming was all that stuff. But if you can guess country of origin
Sure.
that's in the filler, wrapper and binder,
You
that's pretty
You
fun.
guys impressed the shit out of me.
And I always base it on like what I like and what I don't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I'm easily being able
Well,
to.
because you're like, well, this tastes like something I like, and I usually like Connecticut broadleaf, so that's my guess.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
and it smokes to the nub too.
Totally.
It does. You're still smoking really good.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful cigar.
That's awesome.
Super dry.
Props to Saka, man. Props to
Super
Saka.
dry though.
Good job, Steve.
No doubt.
Well, thanks, Jason. Thanks for doing that, man. I'm
Anytime,
looking forward to
anytime.
next month now.
All right, so you serious? You
No,
want me to
we're
do it
on.
again next month?
We're on.
All right, let's do it again.
Alrighty. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for listening and watching this edition of the Stogie Geek Show.